1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
There were parents there of 8 and 9-year-olds who their kids are hearing some terms for sexual acts and then came back to the parents and said, "What is this?"
Ooh, that's a tough one. My daughter's memorized about 15 Nicki Minaj songs.
Oh, boy.
So she knows a little more than I am. Sometimes I go to her with questions.
What is WAP?
You know, it's an interesting moment, and it's related. When your kid drops a curse word on you, my daughter, like 9, didn't like this teacher. My daughter's this cute little thing. She goes, "Bleeping Miss What's her name?" I was like, whoa.
Working blue. Wow.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Perloff's got a bold prediction. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff across the country, CBS Sports Radio. You really came in hot today.
Bold prediction?
Yeah.
I would be bold if it wasn't definitely going to happen.
Go ahead. The floor is yours.
All right. I'm not ready to go all the way with this prediction, but I think when you are looking at who you're going to pick for this year's Super Bowl champion, you have to take a long, hard look at the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Super Bowl. Listen, you want to say playoffs, I'm going to give the Steelers all the respect that franchise deserves.
Yes.
Obviously, the Mike Tomlin, very well-known stat, never had a team under 500. But to say Super Bowl, I can't get there.
So I believe Big Ben won the Super Bowl in his second year, right? Kenny Pickett's coming into his second year. A lot of growing pains last year, but he won his last 5 games, clearly figured it out. He actually won 5 of his last 6, but in the 6th game that he lost, he only played 1 snap because he got hurt. TJ Watt, they were 8-3 with him last year. Last year was not a good year, and they still, when TJ Watt was on the field, they were a winning team.
Yep.
Now they have all those guys back. They have Kenny Pickett looking incredibly mature. He looks like he has a gun. I know his preseason numbers are insane. I don't care about that, but just the way he does it, he's throwing downfield. That receiving core is legit.
Yeah.
George Pickens is going to be a star, no doubt about it. Deontay Johnson's going to catch 100 balls because he does every year.
I know, no touchdowns last year, but that was maybe fluke.
And you have Allen Robinson, who was not good with the Rams, but he's at least a legit receiver. And that, guess what? They don't even need any of that because they're a running team with Najee Harris. So the offense is fine. The defense is ferocious. TJ Watt is like Nick Bosa or Aaron Donald. When he's on the field, he can be an MVP-type player who will win games single-handedly. Great safety in Minkah Fitzpatrick. And they're the Steelers. They're well-coached and solid throughout. I think we're overestimating what happened last year when we're thinking about Super Bowl teams. I think someone's going to come out of nowhere, and I think Pittsburgh has a great chance to be that team.
Well, listen, if it was about last year, we'd be giving the Steelers the same hype that we've been giving the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, they feel Lions-ish.
7-2 at the end of the season when TJ Watt came back, everything was great. I just would like, you're a Vegas person. You're somebody who likes to follow the trends and the betting trends. And for how good the Steelers have looked this year, with all the things that you've just said, the people in Las Vegas, the bettors, have not put a change or made a change on any of their preseason numbers when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Their over-under to win their games is still 8.5. They are plus 5,000 to make to actually win the Super Bowl, right around teams like the Bears. Right now, they have the longest odds to win their own division in the AFC North. So that might be good value for you as a bettor. Perloff's going to DraftKings right now.
Wait, but you make that sound like the longest, like there's some deep, dark shot in the AFC. I mean, it's the AFC North. It's loaded, and they're right behind everybody else. It's not like they're a crazy dark horse in the AFC North. What are the odds?
Okay, the Bengals are plus 150. The Ravens are plus 235. Cleveland plus 380 and Pittsburgh's plus 450. Like, they're definitely fourth. That's for their division. You're talking about Super Bowl.
That's jammed up pretty close with 2 Super Bowl contenders in that list. That, first of all, look at that division alone. The Bengals. It's
going to be tough.
Bengals, Joe Burrow is hurt. They could easily fall back. You know the Ravens and the Steelers are going to be in 2 dogfights whenever they play. They're basically the same team. And then you have Cleveland. I think Cleveland should be 4th out of that right now. I haven't seen anything coming out of Cleveland to get me excited. I just think that we're just wrong. We're always wrong. But I think Pittsburgh is going to jump up out of that group. It's going to be tough. It's AFC North. But Pittsburgh, by far, has the easiest schedule in that division. I looked at Warren Sharp. You know, he does his strength of schedule based on projected Vegas wins.
Yep.
He has Pittsburgh as the 8th easiest schedule in the entire league.
Okay, but
by far the AFC North.
But with
by far
all
the
those
easiest.
Factors, why does Vegas still have them at 8.5 wins? Because if you have, say, 9 wins, like that, is 9 and 8 going to be good enough to make the playoffs? Maybe they get in as a wild card and go on a magical run. But, like, listen, the Steelers, it's easy to look at the Steelers and how well Pickett is playing in the preseason and say, maybe this is dangerous here. This is like a not-so-sleeping giant. But nobody is game planning for Kenny Pickett right now in the preseason. You know, this is not teams trying to gear up to try to take him out. I don't think so. And let's see what happens when they actually...
Who are they getting planning for? What do you mean, like Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, like I don't think that he's not getting the treatment like, hey, if we take out Pickett, everything else is going to go down. I don't see defenses keying in on him in the preseason in a way that feels like what he might really see in the regular season.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that... Yeah, of course, it's a preseason.
Yeah,
Let's not get overexcited about it. But there seems to be a quality about Kenny Pickett that he's just kind of a winner. He won a ton at Pitt.
Listen, I'm a fan. I was the one who stood up for him when he had the small hands conversation at the Combine.
Yeah, and you were. That is absolutely fair. But 8.5 win total doesn't count them out at all. The Jets, who everyone is picking, they're at 9.5. It's not that big a difference. The only reason they're not the Lions is because they're in the AFC. They were in the NFC. I mean, we could just...
Yeah, well, I mean, roll out the red carpet all the way.
We would tell you, if you're in Pittsburgh, if you're in Pittsburgh, book your flight to Vegas. That's why the Lions are so hyped, because there's nobody in that division, nobody in that conference. Maybe I'm getting caught up in history. Mike Tomlin is a winning coach, and T.J. Watt and Cam Hayward and Minkah Fitzpatrick on defense, it just feels like kind of a 10 years ago Steelers team to me.
Okay.
And I think Pickett is going to be the breakout quarterback of this year.
That's possible. I mean, he's a first rounder, so it's not like he's so out of nowhere. It's not Brock Purdy, but okay, we're going to hear from Tomlin in just a moment. But I'm glad you brought up like the history of the Steelers, which I appreciate, and I am deferential to that. And everyone bows down at the Steelers and their consistency. And
I feel like there's a butt coming here.
Well, I'm just going to give you I'm just going to give you some just pure numbers here.
Okay.
They've missed the playoffs 3 of the last 5 years.
Yeah, I mean,
they haven't won a playoff game since 2016, and they've won 3 playoff games total since 2010. They deserve to have the respect that we all give them, but it's not like it's been this real gangbusters run here that the Steelers are just trying to keep going. They're consistent. That's what they are.
I think they're reinventing the early Ben days. So they got caught up with some bad dudes. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I think Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown era could easily be forgotten.
Well, they were successful then.
No, I mean, none of those wins. All the wins came when they had all those veterans on defense. All the playoff success.
Yeah, the triple Malu,
and Ferrier and all those guys. Then they got old, and then you were stuck with these high octane bad character players like Antonio Brown, and they lost. They lost and lost and lost. I think they're recreating really the early Mike Tomlin teams because their defense could be great, and Kenny Pickett kind of reminds me of a young Ben, a guy that he's not going to be Patrick Mahomes, just like Ben Roethlisberger was not Peyton Manning, but he does seem to have a knack to win, just like Ben did.
Here's my other question about the Steelers, which is you mentioned about what happens when TJ Watt's not on the field. Like, it's staggering. Like, they give up like 100 more yards a game or something. Like, the numbers are bananas. It's not even like really indicative of one guy. It's just like what he does for that defense and the system and how it impacts them. And so what happens if he misses?
I can't go. I mean, what happens if Patrick Mahomes is out?
Well, I know, but like when you have the linchpin of a guy who's playing such a physical position, like Patrick Mahomes has like 5 guys who it's their whole job just to try to keep him upright. Like,
and they do a terrible job because he gets hurt 9 times a season. He was limping at halftime of the Super Bowl. No, I don't think I understand what you're saying, but I don't think you can assume TJ Watt's going to get hurt. He sure looked good last night. Ask Taylor Heineke. I mean, he looked explosive.
Well, and the Falcons
I mean, by the way, at least he's in camp. Some of these other great defenders like Chris Jones and Nick Bosa are holding out. So who knows? I think that defense is going to be really good. And you know how predictions are. We overestimate what we saw last year. And I think there was a number of reasons Pittsburgh was down last year. And I'm glad you brought up the Lions. So remind me of that. They feel like they're riding momentum from last year. Kenny Pickett, who's not a young quarterback, he's 25.
Yeah.
Like, he's ready to be like that second-year breakout. He's ready to go, can throw the ball downfield, has a great receiving core, great running back. Now, I do think that the offensive line has been a problem. But
their first-round pick is a backup right now.
Yeah,
didn't have a great camp.
Which doesn't make it. I mean, most rookie tackles are not great anyway.
Yeah. They got Isaac Seumalo, though, from the Eagles.
Yeah, so I think that
guard.
I think their line is probably going to be better than it's been the last 5 years. So why not?
Here is Mike Tomlin, who is talking about Kenny Pickett's maturity.
I think the growth is probably associated with being him and not necessarily the surface level things associated with the position, but the leadership things, the communication things, the bringing people together things. When you got a higher level of comfort in terms of what it is that you're doing, then those things probably happen more.
All right, so a little bit more comfortable in everything he's doing in year 2. And I'll give you that. In the preseason, he has looked very well. But again, who's game planning right now for Kenny Pickett?
Oh, come on. Don't be a hater for Kenny Pickett.
I loved Kenny Pickett when you were worried about his hand size. I go all the way back to the combine with this dude.
Even last night, he was kind of shot putting the ball a little bit.
You still don't want to give up the evaluation.
Well, you can't be fickle. Do you love him or do you not love him? I think he had a bad stats last year. I think 7 touchdowns and 9 picks. I think he ends up this year about 25 and 12.
Had the 2 good game-winning drives right at the end of the season.
He's good at the end of a game. He's got a lot of whatever that gene is, the clutch gene. I think that he's going to have pretty good numbers here. It's not even just him. George Pickens feels like an all-pro wide receiver. He looks like a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. And I don't even think that's crazy at all.
Steelers wide receivers.
Yeah, and they know that position. You know how the Patriots can never draft the right wide receiver?
Yes.
The Steelers can do nothing but draft good receivers. It's unbelievable.
Samter has a poll up. What is it, sir?
It's quite simple. Mr. Perloff says not to sleep on the Steelers as a legit Super Bowl contender. Are they? And so far, people don't agree with you, Mr. Perloff.
What's the number?
95.5% say no, they are not.
How many votes are in here? You just put up 2 seconds ago.
Yes.
I'll bet you $1,000 it comes down from 95.
All we have right now is New Hampshire, Massachusetts.
Can't read 7 votes.
Only states in.
In the 10 seconds that we were just discussing this, it went up a few more votes and went up to 96%.
There we go.
All right.
No,
I'll bet you,
I know what's going to happen. Perloff's going to put it on his own.
I will word it the same way because my poll is all NFL fans, and they are going to go. I guarantee we get at least 24% on this poll.
855-212-4CBS. Let's hit the phones. You're welcome to join in. Again, 855-212-4227. You want to watch the show, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Say hi to the Weedos and the Purple Drinkers. Sean is in Oregon. Hey, Sean, what's up?
Hey, I was just wondering what kind of action Perloff wants this year. You know, last year I got him because, you know, he thought that goes were better in Miami.
Yep.
And I just want to know what he's got this year.
You know, you guys never did settle that bet. I mean, Sean, you won the bet, but
barely. I mean, only by what? 5 games.
Yeah, I know you really. Sean really squeaked that one out.
This year, I'm saying that I think Jets are going for 3rd place
In the AFC East or the what do you mean?
Yeah, Jets are going for 3rd place, brother.
So you're saying 2 teams in the AFC East will be better than the Jets?
Yeah.
Do you want to? I'm just curious. Which teams do you think? Obviously, the Dolphins.
I'm saying probably Bills and Dolphins.
Wow, that's a great bet because I think that's pretty close.
Is that something you're willing to take, Perloff?
I will definitely. I'll take that.
All right, book it, Sean. You got it.
Yeah, I'll take the Jets being top 2 in the AFC East. I think that's a really fair, even bet.
All right. We've got stakes. You guys are actually, Sean, and thank you for the call. Good to talk with you. It's you're a little presumptuous to do this before the third preseason game because Aaron Rodgers is taking the field tomorrow night, and I don't know if I'd want to, Perloff, make that bet until I see Rodgers, make sure he gets out of that game healthy and alive.
7 touchdowns in 3 series.
Wait. First of all, he's playing 1.5 series.
5 touchdowns.
If you're not even comfortable that Aaron Rodgers can get through these 8 snaps tonight in the NFL.
No, I'm just saying I would wait until the third preseason game's over. It's like,
what is with you and injuries today? You're like, well, I don't know if we could pick the Steelers because TJ Watt could always get hurt.
He's coming off of an injury. I'm not just plucking that out of thin air.
But he used up all of her luck already, so someone's getting injured.
Dude, should I even tell people what happened? I wonder, has this ever happened? Does this happen to everybody?
I think you're over-dramatizing this, and I don't know why this was such a big deal to you. But you can tell people, and I was like, what's the big deal?
Okay. I had a meeting for something personal that was supposed to be on Zoom for 1:15 p.m. Eastern. Totally forgot about it. At 1:40, Perloff goes, didn't you have a meeting today? Like, oh, my God. I go to my email address. The meeting had been canceled. That never happens, people. That never happens. To me, that never happens.
If it was such a big deal, a person could have just shot you a text or an email saying, hey,
no, they don't have my phone number. Like, it's not like that.
What do you mean it's not like that?
Well,
you have a Zoom meeting with somebody and they don't have any way to contact you?
Well, they have my email address.
So what?
But I wasn't checking it, and I wasn't checking my phone.
You didn't look at your phone between 1:10 and 1:40?
I mean, no, I was talking to you and our boss. Right, he was in our office, just chit-chatting Friday,
and you never
shooting the breeze. And
even when you're talking to our boss, you don't glance down at your phone occasionally?
I didn't. And, my husband's also on this, but he didn't text me because the meeting was canceled. So I didn't have, nobody reached out. I thought I got so lucky today. That's my luck.
After you found out, you literally said, all of my luck is good. Everything else can happen. I'm good. I'm good for the day. The luck is there. Something bad's going to happen, Maggie. You just set the
You misunderstood me. I just used up all my good luck in that one instance.
Something bad's happening.
But you acted as if you just won the lottery because you missed a 10-minute Zoom.
I did.
Honestly, what would the repercussions have been of you not showing up? It's Zoom.
Looking irresponsible.
Oh,
to some people I didn't want to look irresponsible to.
Oh, because it was like you're up for some board or something? No. It's a school, Maggie. You kidding me? I have missed 17,000 different meetings for my kids.
They judge the moms different than the dads.
Yeah, because the moms buy into it.
They judge the moms different than the dads.
Would they kicked you out of the Hall of Fame for this?
Oh, the Greater Binghamton Sports Hall of Fame? Yeah. They're yanking that award right out of my hands.
You are right, Maggie. The bar is so low for dads. It's unbelievable. If we show up, it's like we just climbed Mount Everest.
I know. Meanwhile, mom's 5 minutes late. It's like this lady. Oh, my God. Or unorganized.
Yeah, but you're buying into that judgment by making such a big deal out of it.
I'm just living in the judgment. I'm not buying it. I merely exist in it. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right. Coming up, your phone calls on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Perloff says they are a Super Bowl contender. Where's our people in Harrisburg, PA right now? We know we're on there. Where's our people in central and western Pennsylvania going to chime in on this? And Steeler fans are all across the country.
How many wins do I need to get to not look stupid on this stake? I need a wild card at least, right?
Yeah, 9.
I got to get to 9. But it's Mike Tomlin. I feel very confident that he'll get to 9.
Probably. 855-212-4CBS. Super Bowl contender, though, is what you're talking about.
I kind of feel part of the reasoning behind that is the AFC is such a jumble. I think anybody other than Kansas City, it's just kind of the same. So hopefully. This
is going to be one of those years probably in the AFC where it comes down to those ridiculous tiebreakers where you have to go all right, what was your record against common opponents, and then strength of schedule, and then what was this person doing on the second Thursday of every month? It's going to be stupid.
And also, you can predict all you want, but remember how many injuries Look at Buffalo. It was snowing, and you just dealt with 6 weeks of utter drama.
I know.
Sorry, my bad.
I know, thanks.
That was unnecessary.
Meanwhile,
it's Friday, and here I am bringing up the Bills. Not good.
If you're watching youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, we do have the whiteboard behind me. Days since Maggie has had a Bills meltdown. We're up to 4, guys. Let's keep it going.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I mean, I am proud.
I appreciate that. Also, we want to say a good afternoon to all of our amazing CBS Sports Radio affiliates. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. You can listen to the show on the absolutely free Odyssey app and SiriusXM channel 158. Coming up, we get actual college football that counts tomorrow, including the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, Caleb Williams. The biggest question going into tomorrow's game, we'll tell you after the break. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Hey, Samter, how's my poll doing about whether the Steelers are potentially a contender in the AFC? Is it coming down from 95%?
It actually is. It came down significantly.
Of course.
To 75%. You're
Yes.
way up to 25% of people are buying in with you.
You can't read a poll after you've been up for 1 minute because who knows what kind of weirdos are voting in that.
You mean weirdos, not weirdos, weirdos.
I was the first vote, so thank you.
Yes, I would describe Samter as strange. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, so Perloff saying the Steelers are a Super Bowl contender. I'm saying pump the brakes. Chris is in Myrtle Beach, is up first here on CBS Sports Radio. Hey, Chris.
Hey, good afternoon. I appreciate you guys taking my call. Born and raised in Pittsburgh, living in Myrtle now, but still a Steeler fan through and through. I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender quite yet. I think Pickett progresses in his second year. I don't think he's Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, or Lamar Jackson quite yet, but they progress. I think they get maybe to 10 wins, maybe win a playoff game, but I think Pickett and crew are still about a year away. I think they still have some questions in their secondary. I think the linebackers D-line is going to be great, but not sold quite yet. And I'm a Steeler fan through and through, but I think they progress this year.
Wait, Chris, how many Super Bowls have Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson been to again? Who cares if he's Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson? This is Steelers. I think they can find other ways to get there.
Sure. I think the defense is going to certainly lead them again. I think Pickett does take a step forward, but
You're right, though. You lost Cam Sutton as your corner. You're trying to replace him with Patrick Peterson, who's 33. I mean, we all like Patrick Peterson, but, it's getting up there a little bit for a corner. Chris, thank you so much for the phone call. And, it's funny. I just went back. You and I were talking about some comps earlier. Yeah. Our friend Lance Zierlein from NFL.com. Do you remember who the Kenny Pickett comp was?
I think I've heard this before, but some mid-range guy.
Andy Dalton in his prime. It made sure to say in his prime. So, he's not going to be Josh Allen or Mahomes. I don't know if anyone's really expecting that, but Pickett should be a competent, he is a first-round pick, should be able to lead an offense like the Steelers.
If Andy Dalton had been on the prime Steelers teams, oh, my God, he would have been awesome. He was good on the Bengals. I think he could have been. So that's my point. Like, if you're on a great Mike Tomlin Steelers team, you don't have to be Josh Allen. I think you can win other ways. But was that supposed to be some sort of dig at Kenny Pickett that he's prime? You had to say prime. First of all, Andy Dalton. Wait till he gets out there.
Andy Dalton in prime years.
Yeah, I hear you. He's gonna show Lance Zierlein in prime years. You're saying Andy's not in his prime anymore?
Well, he just lost he lost out the quarterback battle to Bryce Young, but that was a stacked deck.
Yeah, that wasn't.
And honestly, that might end up being a mistake. I probably would have started Dalton and then brought Bryce Young in midway through the year or something.
I think most coaches are doing what the Colts are doing. Like, you watch Anthony Richardson last night. He's obviously, pretty raw, but he has to be out there. There's no other way for him to learn. I guess the only team that doesn't agree with this is San Francisco.
And, it worked pretty well for the Chiefs when they let Patrick Mahomes sit.
Yes, and I know everyone points to that, but come on. Anthony Richardson needs to play football games.
Well, because he's barely played. How about Richardson with the confidence, huh? Last night, scores in the preseason in Philadelphia and starts doing the Fly, Eagles, Fly. How did you feel about that, Eagle fan?
Oh, I loved it. I'm an Anthony Richardson fan as well as an Eagle fan. I don't care what he does in the preseason. There is the 0 to 100 measurement of the Eagles-Colts rivalry is 0.0.
I know, but I thought you'd be in crisis a little bit because the Eagles are your favorite team. Anthony Richardson's your favorite rookie, and he was taunting your fans, your fellow fans.
Yeah, but if it happened regular season, yes, that would bother me. Preseason, I love it. Bring it on. Also, too, Jason Kelce just sort of beat up a guy on the team in their joint practices early in the week, so I felt a little guilty about that. I'm into the Colts. The Colts are my sort of very bad AFC team that I'm going to watch every week and root for.
We will get more into the Colts, and the Jonathan Taylor news came out that the Miami Dolphins have turned down an offer that the Colts made for Jonathan Taylor, so we'll get more into that. But Caleb Williams is going to be on display tomorrow, Perloff. Now, it's San Jose State, so, it's going to not be, crazy competition, but we do get Caleb Williams. Right now, he is the odds-on favorite to repeat as Heisman Trophy winner. And I think that's going to be very, very difficult. I do. He's got the name recognition, and he's got this great, launch pad because everyone thinks he's going to be the number one pick in the draft next year, and he's really, starting from a really high it's almost like his Heisman to lose, but you have so many incredible quarterbacks. If another person emerges and has as good or better season than Caleb Williams, I don't think the voters want to give it to a guy 2 years in a row. Archie Griffin was a long time ago. Yeah. Gentleman, prince of a guy. A long time ago, though, and I don't think voters are inclined to give it to someone back-to-back unless they are beyond a shadow of a doubt the number one far and away winner.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the field. And there's not a lot of guaranteed guys who are going to throw 42 touchdowns and 5 picks. Because there's been a lot of turnover at the key programs. Ohio State is going to have a new quarterback. We don't have any name to start. Yeah. So you're not going to get your typical Ohio State guy with 45 touchdowns. Alabama doesn't have a starter yet, so you're not going to compete with an Alabama quarterback likely. Now, Jaden Daniels at LSU is second in the odds, but he doesn't feel like he's a gigantic stats guy either. So I think you're going to have to overlook the fact that Caleb Williams, if he's healthy, is going to by far and away have the best stats. So I think he has a good chance because it's not a great field. It's not an obvious field behind him. I know there's a lot of good quarterbacks out there, but I don't think, C.J. Stroud had an amazing year the year before, and he couldn't even win it. And we knew about Caleb Williams. He wasn't sneaking up on anybody. I just don't see who the obvious answer is.
I don't think there's an obvious one, but there's never an obvious one when you're talking about the Heisman in August,
Yes.
You know how this goes. A guy will get out to be the front runner, and then there's usually a midseason twist, and then whatever happens in the conference championship games usually solidifies it, or your rivalry game.
I still think, though, Caleb Williams last year was kind of drama-free. Nobody was surprised that Caleb Williams threw 40 touchdowns for USC. And they could have been C.J. Stroud as well last year, who's got insane numbers. Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying because these are humans who vote, and they don't want the narrative of voting for the same guy again. There's obvious fatigue. I just think Caleb Williams could lap the field. And if USC ends up with 2 losses, he's going to be a strong candidate. And also, I'll do any bet you want that he's a number one pick. I am so confident about that.
I know we have our bet will be him and Drake May 1-2.
Yeah, I'm feeling really good about that.
Quarterbacks 1-2.
Yeah, I'm feeling really good. They're going what? Yeah, are they?
No. It was Williams and Drake May 1-2. That was the bet.
Yeah, I feel really good about that, except for the fact that a lot of really bad teams already have their quarterback. So
that's never stopped anybody.
You're right. It's never stopped anybody.
Yeah, or they just trade the pick to somebody who does need a quarterback. But so here's one for you. Might as well just keep piling on the bets. Sean in Oregon called with a bet for you. Will the Jets be in third? He thinks they're going to finish in third place in the AFC East. You think they're going to finish above that. So we've got one show bet going.
Well, what if they finish in fourth?
Well, Sean you guys
wins.
Both lose.
No, Sean wins.
Yeah, it's closer to the
Sean wins that one.
And then now Caleb Williams versus the field.
Caleb Williams versus the field. That's the Heisman. That's an unfair bet, but
he's pretty steep odds here.
What is he? He's 3-1.
He's plus. Let's take DraftKings. He's plus 450, and Jaden Daniels is next at plus 1100.
Yeah, but the field, if you're going to do against the field is much higher odds. I'm not doing that one unless you give me something really good to win. What do I get? If I take Caleb Williams and he wins, what do I get? I mean, I could just go to DraftKings and make a bet. Win some money.
But
I don't love those odds. What's the point at 5-1 of betting on Caleb Williams?
Yeah, I don't understand it. I mean, I wouldn't do it, but him versus the field is interesting.
If you were going to look at a Heisman bet this year, would you feel more comfortable taking better odds at the guys between 10 and 30? Would you go for a long shot this year, or would you go for one of the favorites?
I'd probably go for a long shot. Although it's really been favorites the last couple of years. Doesn't feel like someone's been super out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Unless you count Joe Burrow as out of nowhere.
Dude, that's big time out of nowhere. He wasn't even good the year before.
Well,
Yeah,
No, but
that's a really good
it's like
point.
once the season started, everyone was like, uh-oh, I think we got something on our hands here with Joe Burrow. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. We were talking before about how I thought it was the greatest fortune of my life that I missed a meeting about some mom stuff, and it ended up being canceled anyway.
That is the greatest fortune of your life.
It's the greatest fortune of my life. And you said, the bar is just different for moms and dads.
Yeah.
Okay. Erica Herskowitz is doing updates for us today. I think Erica, who is also a working mom, I think she can back me up on this. Erica, am I right that if I was 5 minutes late to a meeting for one of my kids, I'm totally getting judged for that?
You're not only getting judged, you're getting crucified. And not only by the administration or the teacher, by the other moms, which is really even worse, actually. So I totally get it.
Thank you. Samter said that someone complimented him the other day because he was feeding his baby.
I know. They said, what a great dad you are. I'm like, really?
It's like that Chris Rock, it's like that Chris Rock, set. He does a whole thing about I take care of my kids, and you're supposed to.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Wait. My husband calls babysitting our sons. Like, no, you're the dad. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, you're not getting paid by the hour.
No.
Well, can we play this out, Erica? What would have happened if the call had not been canceled and Maggie had missed it? She would have gotten an email. Hey, there must have been some sort of miscommunication. Can we reschedule the Zoom for tomorrow at this time? And boom, it would have been done.
Yeah, and if I could do subliminal message man on that, the old Kevin Nealon skit from Saturday Night Live, it would have been like, hey, loser, there must have been some kind of communication. Idiot, you don't know how to read a calendar. We had something really important to talk about with your kids. Clearly you don't care. Negligent mom. Let's see if we can reschedule.
Oh. And then the hang up and the call to DIFUS. Exactly.
No, thank you.
So do you think it's probable that your kid would never get into college if you don't reschedule this appropriately?
I think that's why I said the greatest fortune of my life happened today.
Yeah, I feel that.
Thank you.
Never happens to me. I miss things like that, and then I get judged.
Oh, me too. I dodged some kind of something. And now it's going to come back around. And
see, you guys need willful ignorance that men are so good at. Just put blinders on.
I mean, basically, just don't care. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. It's worked for centuries.
I know. You guys have really perfected that. 855-212-4CBS. 855-212-4CBS.
Hope Lucas likes, trade school.
Thank you.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, it's going to be fun. He's 4. 855-212-4CBS. Okay, so coming up, Mike Golic Jr. is going to join us to preview the season for the Fighting Irish. Notre Dame plays tomorrow in Dublin against the Naval Academy. It all happens after this CBS Sports Update. Here's Erica Herskowitz.
CBS Sports Radio. Sports Flash.
All right, guys. Well, he's not going to pitch, but the Angels say Shohei Ohtani will continue to DH as the two-way star receives treatment for his torn UCL, and that includes tonight when the Angels open up a weekend series against the Mets in Queens. Ohtani is getting a second opinion regarding a possible second Tommy John surgery. Meanwhile, from the NFL, Niners GM John Lynch says he expects Trey Lance to still be on the roster when the season begins in a couple of weeks. Lance lost out on the backup job to Sam Darnold earlier this week, and while San Francisco is still exploring trade options for Lance, Lynch says the third string job is still in play for Week 1 against the Steelers. 3 games highlight the NFL preseason schedule tonight. The Panthers host the Lions, the Patriots visit the Titans, and the Niners are home for the Chargers. And as mentioned, the college football season kicks off tomorrow. Notre Dame takes on Navy in Dublin. And then reigning Heisman Trophy winner Caleb Williams and USC will be hosting San Jose State at the Coliseum. Second round of the Tour Championships underway in Atlanta, and Colin Morikawa and Scotty Scheffler share the lead at 12 under. One shot ahead of Russell Henley, Victor Hovland, and Keegan Bradley. I'm Erica Herskowitz.
The wait is almost over. College football and the NFL are just around the corner. For the best talk, insight, and entertainment from every gridiron across the nation, just ask your smart speaker to play CBS Sports Radio.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Time to Ask the Pros, where you, the listener, gets to ask us a question, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simply tweet your question at CBS Sports Radio or at Maggie and Pearl using the hashtag AskThePros. Be listening later in the show when we might answer your question. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts. For all your car care needs, get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. So, Maggie, it's been a little bit of a tough week for me because my friends at the Dan Patrick Show, my former show, are partying in Dublin with Will Ferrell.
I know.
And I said to you, I'm like, this would be fun to be in Dublin. So, it's bad, but I can't imagine being a Notre Dame fan and not being in Dublin.
That's got to be rough. That's got to be much, much worse. Hey, speaking of that, let's welcome in Mike Golic Jr., our DraftKings football analyst. Oh, Mike, we didn't mean to do that. Why are you not in Dublin, dude? I don't think Mike can hear us. He's not reacting at all. Hey, Mike. Hi, you.
Oh, yeah, I don't think he can hear us.
He can't hear us right now. Okay,
Yeah.
So I did look a little bit at what.
That was such a good dig.
It was really good. It's been wasted now. It's amazing that this game, which I believe it's the third time they've done this series in Dublin for Notre Dame, and Notre Dame does, crazy games all over this country and goes internationally. The amount of fun it looks like the Notre Dame fans are having in Dublin, it's like, it's almost looks like they've invaded the city.
Oh, yeah. Have you been to Dublin by any chance?
I've not.
Oh, it's such a fun time. It's not big at all. It's a small city, so you don't need that many Notre Dame fans to make it look like they've taken over the whole city.
Here's a question. So you're talking about the guys at the DP show. Will Ferrell is with them all week. How is he just like walking around Dublin? He has to be getting mobbed when they go into these pubs.
I have no idea. I don't understand it. I don't understand why Will is just sitting there being part of the Dan Patrick
He's
Show.
He's the new McLovin. They really had to go to great depths to replace you, Perloff. Okay, let's get the thoughts of Mike Golic Jr., DraftKings football analyst. And, Mike, you couldn't hear it, but Perloff really was giving you a lot of grief about not being in Dublin right now. What's your excuse?
Trust me, no one's more upset with me on that front than me, as I have had to look at not only my parents having the time of their lives, but I feel like every day I open up social media, I see another one of my friends or former classmates who's decided to make the trip. And I decided, hey, you know what? Got some stuff with work I need to get done here. My parents have dogs that are older, don't want to kennel them. I'll be the good son and come to South Bend and be one of the only people at Notre Dame not going to the game. And now as we get closer to game day, I am full of regret, and I haven't had this much FOMO since college.
Well, it's only a 5.5-hour flight. I understand there are dogs there, but why don't you just, right after this interview, drive to the airport and get going?
You can find a responsible college kid somewhere to watch the dogs.
I don't know if those words together in a sentence have ever made sense or been true, but I'm going to have to start thinking about something around here. Call a babysitter because I'm getting desperate.
Mike Golic Jr., DraftKings football analyst, going to have a new show with your dad on the DraftKings network, which we absolutely love. Golic Sr. and Golic Jr. together again. Okay, so when was the last time that Notre Dame had a quarterback with this much potential? Like Sam Hartman as a transfer has people excited in a different kind of way.
Yeah, you know what? I think in the way I've phrased it is had a quarterback with this much certainty, because with Sam, it's really not potential. We've had guys like my buddy Dane Christ, who was a classmate of mine here, other big-time prospects, Deshaun Kaiser, who have had talent, who have had ability. But Sam comes in, and I think for the first time really since, Brady Quinn, Jimmy Clausen were there, where you had a returning starter that you felt like you could count on in critical moments. And I think that's the thing I'm most excited about. And this Navy game will be a great test, because for Notre Dame fans who remember last year's game against Navy, got out to an early lead and then got blitzed all over the place in the second half. And we watched the quarterback and the offense kind of turtle up. This year, can a quarterback with veteran presence, can a quarterback with all the experience of Sam Hartman help get them out of some of those situations through just the sheer force of experience and, of course, a lot of the ability and good looks and all the other things.
Yeah, it's annoying. Well, what about the impact of losing offensive coordinator Tommy Rees?
Yeah, listen, there's no way to understate it. I think Tommy is a weapon as an offensive coordinator, and I think we're going to see that, his imprint on an Alabama offense that's pretty certain of itself but has great personnel, and Tommy will do a good job in. But that being said, Jared Parker comes over. He spent some time with Neil Brown at West Virginia. And while he wasn't always calling plays, I remember getting to meet with them. I called more than a few West Virginia games when he was the coordinator, and always enjoyed the way he thought about football. And he walks into an offense now that's got a pretty solid identity up front in the offensive line, in the running back room with Audric Estime. And so they've got natural strengths to lean on while they're trying to work out some of the things that can and should be different, because you've got a quarterback like Sam Hartman. You've got a young skill group there. You've got some guys that are waiting to kind of have their moment in college football, that their lives are going to be made a lot easier by the presence of a veteran quarterback who's more able to push the ball downfield than you were last year. I think Tommy had to purposely call plays a certain way because of what Notre Dame was limited by at the quarterback spot last year. And I think Jared Parker in year one as the coordinator at Notre Dame is going to have a lot freer access down the field. And you guys know, when you can push the ball downfield and threaten teams in that way, it makes all the rest of the things you want to do on offense a lot easier, just by nature of that one guy at quarterback being a difference maker.
Mike Golic Jr., DraftKings football analyst, joining us. You want to watch youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. How about the head coach for Marcus Freeman? Tenure started out, a little rocky. Couple losses there that were not expected. Marshall, what's the biggest change or improvement that you want to see from the head coach in year two?
Yeah, you know what? And I think this has been reflected by Marcus, because he even said himself in year one, he was talking about what you've got to do to win a national championship, the thing you come to Notre Dame for. And he said going into year two, man, that's a culmination of a lot of little things that you got to do right along the way. And so his goal was to focus more on the here and now, to focus on winning the day a little bit more. And I think for Notre Dame, that's really what it's got to be this year. Not can you get up for the big games, because we know Ohio State, Clemson, USC, everyone's going to be up for those games. Those are going to be college game day level games, big time matchups where even fans are hyped for that one. It'll be some of the best tickets in the sport. You don't got to worry about your team getting up for that. I want to know, are you going to be prepared and leveled up for NC State, for Duke, for Pitt, some of these trap games on the schedule of quality teams that can get overlooked when you've got that many big bads on the schedule? And so I think for Notre Dame, the challenge is going to be to reset the floor. Towards the end of Brian Kelly's tenure, that's what Notre Dame had changed the most. They were winning double-digit games for 5 straight seasons because they no longer lost the games on their schedule like that. They won the games they were supposed to win and then worried about getting to the high-end matchups once they got there. If in year two Marcus Freeman can reset the floor there, then that's a double-digit win football team, I firmly believe.
I feel like some people are counting Notre Dame as 4-0 already headed into that game against Ohio State. It's Navy, Tennessee State, at NC State, Central Michigan. Based on what you're just saying, it sounds like you think that the coach will have them ready for those 4 games. Do you think they have a great chance, I would assume, of entering that Ohio State game undefeated?
They do. And listen, this is smart scheduling, because the last time around when they went to Dublin, Ireland, I was playing on the team, and we came back after that trip and immediately played Purdue. So we played a Big Ten opponent and I think beat them by 2 points. We were markedly better than them as the season would bear out, but coming back from that, so many things change. And so scheduling a Tennessee State after that, we know that game means a lot more than just what it is on the schedule there. There's a lot of good reasons behind doing that game. NC State will be a great test. That's an offensive coordinator there, and Robert Anai that they're familiar with there, a quarterback in Brennan Armstrong they saw at Virginia a couple years ago. And so all of those, I think, work well laying out the schedule, as opposed to last year where you had to start off. First one out of the box was Ohio State in week 1 on the road. This team gets a little bit more of a chance to find itself. And it's not necessarily that I'm penciling them in to be undefeated, but it does lay out for a team with this kind of talent and the caliber of players returning at the right spots to definitely be in a good position. And I think know a little bit more about themselves before they go into a matchup with a top 5 team.
Mike Golic Jr. is joining us. We just got about 2 minutes left. Gojo, it's, a lot of crazy, conference realignment news in the last couple days. What's it going to take for Notre Dame to join a conference?
Probably the eventual super conference that forms in all of this. I think Notre Dame, we'll wait and see if the NBC deal gets hammered out and they get a new deal there that's near market value that we're seeing for some of the big conferences, because right now they've got a path to the playoff through expansion, and we'll see if that gets even easier if the playoff format's reviewed and they want to do away with some of those automatic qualifiers for the 6 highest ranked conference champions, since we just lost one of the conferences ostensibly this year. So I think because of that, it's going to be until they reorganize again at the highest level on this.
All right, Mike, you're also obviously great on NFL. I started the show just a house on fire about how good the Pittsburgh Steelers looked in preseason. Am I making the classic preseason overreaction?
No, he said they're a Super Bowl contender.
I said you got to at least look at them as maybe a Super Bowl team. You spent some time with the Steelers. Am I just going way too crazy about Kenny Pickett's preseason?
I think so, to call them a Super Bowl contender, but they can absolutely be a much improved team this year. Some of those offensive pieces, George Pickens especially, making a big jump. It looks like he's taken all that ability and putting it on display each and every week. They unfortunately just play in what could be the toughest division in football. And I don't know if I see the AFC North being a 3-playoff league. And that's what it would probably take to get the Steelers in.
Do they have a good line like they used to with Big Ben? Because I know the line sort of took a turn south in the last few years. Is it possible to be back to protecting Pickett?
Not quite at that level, but they've improved a lot from where they were in the last couple of years. Part of that is personnel, and part of that's also just time. But that has drastically improved, and I think is a big part of why Kenny Pickett's going to be in a position to do more of what we saw at Pitt right there next door on the south side.
All right, Mike Golic, I looked it up for you. Chicago O'Hare, you got a flight to Dublin. It leaves tonight at 8:30. You can do this, man. We want to get a dog sitter. We want to see you on the sidelines tomorrow.
I'll send you guys the Instagram video chronicling my mad dash journey where I inevitably get delayed and just wander back.
You're going to love watching the game from that Applebee's at O'Hare, that one that's right there in the front. Mike Golic Jr., again, DraftKings football analyst, got a new show with his dad, Mike Golic Sr. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Mike Golic Jr. He can do this if he wants to.
Yeah, that's tough.
Got to find a dog sitter.
It's tough being a Notre Dame fan in the States right now. Everyone's going to want to be in Dublin tomorrow.
I'm going to be watching 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Coming up are the Miami Dolphins making a huge mistake. Get to that in a moment. Don't move. Maggie, Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Taking less is going to happen within 2 weeks. We'll know who's right about this. I think Joe Burrow is going to take a pay cut.
Yeah, driving to Cincinnati?
I don't want to drive to Cincinnati on this one. I think we need something a little higher.
What a bad bandwagon fan you are. Don't even want to drive to Cincinnati to see your beloved Reds.
All the driving bets are always one way because you don't like driving long. You don't even like driving an hour and a half somewhere to
I don't even like commuting into the office. But I do it for you guys.
Yeah, I'm like,
I don't want to be home.
You're like, Perloff, why don't you drive to El Paso? And I'm like, you just complained because you had to go from North Jersey to another part of North Jersey.
I do not like to be in the car.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff on this Friday. You made it. Big exhale. End of the week. Still summer Fridays, even though we do have, Perloff, actual college football. That counts tomorrow. We were just talking with Mike Golic Jr., breaking down Notre Dame and what's up with their season this year and forecasts for their season. You get USC and the Heisman Trophy winner Caleb Williams tomorrow as well. So lots of cool things. Not to mention all the NFL preseason you can handle so Perloff can overreact to Kenny Pickett and the like.
Oh, my gosh. You kidding me? Saturday is a gigantic, actually all weekend's a gigantic day. But I swear the event of the weekend is Trey Lance suiting up for San Francisco.
Tonight.
I mean, that is I can't imagine. If he plays well, then it's a great storyline. If he plays terribly, then it's just more drama. I'm so dying to know, how do you react after getting benched behind Sam Darnold?
You know, he's going to have to put on a brave face here, because they let him leave practice, right? Because after he got the news that he was going to be third string, so it's like, take a little time to process this because, listen, last year, they were keeping Jimmy Garoppolo on like a backfield because they had given Trey Lance the starting job, remember? Garoppolo wasn't even like going to team meetings and stuff. And now to be told you're third string, they gave him like a day to process it. But if you're Trey Lance, you got to make the most of every opportunity. Now, I've said that it's been an epic failure of a draft pick, both combined, because he hasn't played well, didn't beat out Sam Darnold, and also because the 49ers, clearly the process was flawed here. Like they picked a quarterback that was a developmental quarterback, yet didn't take the time to develop him and have a team that's ready to win now, a developmental quarterback. The timeline was never right with the Trey Lance pick.
By that logic, you're saying he didn't beat out Sam Darnold. So by that logic, he beat out Jimmy G and everybody else 2 years ago. So he had a great camp then?
No, Jimmy G, they didn't want him anywhere near the team, remember?
Well, I'm just saying, yeah. I mean, he earned the first team 2 years ago just because he didn't earn this in practice. Sam Darnold came in to be the backup. He was always going to, in my opinion, he was always going to be the second string guy. So I don't know that you can blame Trey Lance. Like, I want to see him on the field playing badly before I bury the guy. I want to see him screw up. Because I don't know. I mean, I understand maybe they don't like him in practice, but I have to see it to call him a bust.
Okay, but then everyone says that Kyle Shanahan is like this great offensive mind and a fantastic coach, and he'd be a top 5 coach of any list if you ever did one of those of NFL coaches. Offensive coaches. Don't you have to trust him to evaluate the quarterbacks in practice?
Well, he evaluated Trey Lance before the draft and took him.
I know, and I think that he should wear some of that, and everyone blames John Lynch, saying that he convinced Kyle Shanahan to take him over Mac Jones.
Literally 2 seconds ago, you said he was a genius who could evaluate any quarterback. Which is it?
No, I'm saying he has to wear this. They all missed.
The draft
pick, they have to wear it.
The draft pick was screwed up, but I think it's insane to call this guy a bust. I mean, a bust throws 14 interceptions in a season and has 2 touchdowns. We haven't seen anything of Trey Lance.
No, we have not. But I do think that just because we don't see it doesn't mean that he wasn't playing well enough to, clearly the team was trying to either trade him this offseason or don't have a lot of faith in him. And I just have to trust that they know more than me.
The dude had a severe broken ankle that was operated on after the season again last year. I mean, that's got to play into this. Not only that, we're talking about Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett's 2 full years older than Trey Lance. He's 23. He should be coming out of college now.
Okay, but
and he's only played a handful of games. Well, I don't know. It seems early to call him a bust to me.
I'm not calling him a bust necessarily. I'm saying this isn't working here with San Francisco. And
I agree with that.
He might be one of the highest draft picks to be off of his team beyond, I guess, Josh Rosen, something like that. But one of the highest draft picks to be off his team in such a short amount of time, if indeed he does get traded. I don't know if he's going to. I do believe Diana Rossini's report that they were trying to shop him. But it also never made sense philosophically, right? Because no matter whether you and I can disagree about what Trey Lance will be, he was a developmental prospect coming out of North Dakota State because he had not played almost at all. Some of that was the, COVID. What are you going to do? But he was a developmental project, and this was a team that's ready to win.
Yeah.
So it never made sense.
They didn't totally know that. They didn't not quite understand how good they were, I think.
They had just been to the Super Bowl.
I don't, also they had 4 wins or 5 wins the year before.
Well, that was because everyone got hurt.
Yeah, but
they got
still,
lucky.
I think that they thought that Super Bowl team I think they thought they were headed in the wrong direction for a lot of reasons. Because they were not even close to getting over it. Jimmy G missed that long pass to Sanders. It just felt like they were headed in the wrong direction because then the next season, everybody got hurt. But even when the guys were on the field, they just didn't look cohesive at all.
Okay, but they've made 3 NFC title games in the last 5 years.
2 of those were with Trey Lance on the roster. So, so when they made the pick, they had made 1.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I just think that the timeline never really made sense when you were picking a developmental quarterback.
When you have a top 10 pick, you're not saying to yourself, they were 12th, I think, before they traded up for Lance. I don't think you're saying to yourself, well, we're on the brink of a Super Bowl. We should not take a developmental quarterback. I think nobody ripped them for taking a quarterback. Everyone thought they had to take a quarterback at some point in that draft, right? I mean, I didn't see a single person who said, nah, you're good at quarterback.
Well, just because Jimmy was hurt so often, but it was
inconsistent.
I think it was a little surprising
that they took a quarterback. I think it would have been the shock of the draft.
I think it was surprising that they moved up to 3.
Up to 3 because they gave up a ransom to do it.
But I think everyone, I'd love you to show me an article that linked the 49ers to any position except quarterback in that draft. It was not happening. They were 100% going quarterback.
But follow me on this one.
Yeah.
People believe, and there's this thought out there, that Kyle Shanahan can win with any quarterback or almost any quarterback, right?
Right.
And it's funny, though, because none of those quarterbacks, outside of RG3, who was like a running quarterback, none of them really are running quarterbacks who he's had all this success with. You're talking about Matt Ryan, Matt Schaub. You're talking about Jimmy Garoppolo. These guys aren't runners. His favorite guy of all time, Kirk Cousins. Kirk's not a runner.
Do you know what quarterback that runs that he has won with? Trey Lance. Trey Lance is 2-1 as a starter. So
very good.
We don't know. We have no idea what Trey Lance is. I know they saw him in practice. Yes, it's not working out with the Niners, but he's 23.
Listen,
we have no idea.
For as much as I will, criticize the 49ers for this pick, right? For getting it wrong with Trey Lance. 2 things. I do still trust that they can evaluate him in practice more than I can.
Yeah.
And 2, it is kind of bizarrely a backhanded compliment kind of a credit to the 49ers that they still are so competitive and have this amazing team when they not only whiffed on a top quarterback, but we're watching Solomon Thomas on Hard Knocks with the Jets. I mean, he was a top pick for them, too, that never really amounted to much with the 49ers.
So, okay, I just want to get this on the record. You are willing to buy, when the 49ers say something about their quarterbacks, you are willing to buy that. You just said that.
I think, no. What I'm willing to buy is that they have they can evaluate Trey Lance at practice better than I can.
So, no. You went a little further.
I said better than I can.
You said that they were good at evaluating quarterbacks.
No. I said everyone thinks Kyle Shanahan.
Play the tape back.
No. I said that everyone thinks Kyle Shanahan is this great offensive guru.
I just wanted to say that because I just could want to pull out 10 quotes from this offseason where they call Sam Darnold one of the great quarterbacks in the NFL. Because if you're buying their ability to evaluate quarterbacks, then you have to buy into the fact that they think Sam Darnold's a very good quarterback. Because they've said that at least 15 times this offseason.
I don't know if you're mishearing me. Clearly they can't evaluate quarterbacks because they traded the house for Trey Lance. So evaluating him off his college tape, no good. No bueno.
Okay. But they can evaluate practice.
I think they can. They know better if they know if Trey Lance is doing well in practice better than I do sitting here 3,000 miles away.
Okay, but so they also know that Sam Darnold's really good because they keep saying it.
I think they want Sam Darnold as the backup. That's them. So I watched every snap of Sam Darnold in the NFL. I don't see it.
But but it doesn't matter what you see because they're better at evaluating. So they're right about Darnold and you're wrong.
No, I think they're right about Darnold probably played better than Lance in practice.
But
and that's why he's the backup and Trey Lance is the third string.
Okay, so
that's the evaluation I'm talking about.
Kyle Shanahan comes on the mic and says, "We've been watching Darnold. We think he could have a really, really great career in the NFL."
That's just BS to me. I mean, I'm not buying everything that they said.
You're picking and choosing what you believe of Kyle Shanahan because he's calling Darnold a future Pro Bowler. You're like, that's ridiculous. But you're saying he's not he doesn't like Lance.
No, I'm not falling for the PR spin that they're giving me, saying Sam Darnold could be a future Pro Bowler. But I am buying that in practice, if they're watching Darnold versus Trey Lance, they have a better evaluation than I do. I'm admitting my shortcomings here, that I don't know if Trey Lance is a good quarterback, and they would have an up-close and personal view. And at the same time, I'm also calling them out because clearly they missed on Trey Lance's evaluation coming out of college.
But you won't believe the things they say about Sam Darnold in practice are just spin.
I can't believe it. I can't. I watched too much.
I feel like you're playing both sides of this.
You're only just trying to pin me in on Sam Darnold, and I'm not letting you do it.
I know, I had you. I thought I had. No. I'm sorry. It's a Friday, and I didn't want to pull logic games on you, but you have to admit there's a little bit of maybe a squint of hypocrisy talking about the 49ers practice because they're treating Sam Darnold like they have the second coming of Otto Graham in camp. So I don't know what they're evaluating in practice, to be honest.
Did you just get an Otto Graham reference?
I didn't know. I couldn't think of I couldn't do anyone that good with Sam Darnold because that would have been ridiculous.
855-212-4CBS. Ron's in Oakland. Hello, Ron.
Hey there, Maggie. Listen,
how you doing?
I'm good. Listen, I appreciate Andrew being empathetic or passionate or compassionate, I should say, about Trey Lance. But in fact, they get to see the coaching staff and Lynch get to see that guy throwing dozens of passes in every practice. And clearly, even at the beginning of this season, they didn't have a heck of a lot of confidence in him. And then about seeing him live in games, we Niner fans who follow, preseason closely, got to watch him miss on 4 different occasions wide open people. He doesn't see the field. So on that play where there was almost an interception and it ended up being a touchdown to the tight end, he should have thrown earlier.
Yeah. And, no, Ron, I get what you're saying. You're saying, and thank you so much for the phone call. Have a great weekend. You're saying, like, even if you do look at, Trey Lance and what he's put out on tape so far, that's still not enough to give you confidence. There's not much of it, but there's still questions.
He seems to have trouble sort of reading the field and anticipating right now, but that's because of lack of experience. And his offseason was limited because of injury. Real quick quote from Kyle Shanahan on your guy, Sam Darnold. I mean, Steve Young took a while to get going. He's one of the best quarterbacks of all time. I don't like to compare anyone to Steve because of how good he is, but why can't Sam be like that? He's got that type of ability. He's that type of person. I'm just pumped that we could get a talented guy like him here. So that is what Kyle Shanahan is saying about it.
That's what he says. I'm not buying all that. The Steve Young comparison? Oh, boy.
I mean, doesn't that make you maybe think twice about, well, if Kyle Shanahan thinks Sam Darnold is Steve Young, then maybe he's wrong about Trey Lance. But I don't think he is. But
he's wrong about Trey
But
Lance.
the other thing, too, is third string on San Francisco is like second string somewhere else.
That is true. You're going to see the field.
I will give it. That's the one thing I will stick to. Like, Trey Lance is not done in San Francisco if he stays on the team.
And again, he plays, and he's going to start, we think he's going to start tonight. 49ers host the Chargers in the final preseason game on NFL Network. Okay, coming up, new documentary looks at the wild times of Urban Meyer's Florida Gators. Now, Andy Staples, our pal, was a walk-on at Florida during Steve Spurrier's era, but he's been covering the team for decades now. He's going to join us next. We're going to separate some fact and fiction from this documentary. Don't move. Maggie Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Guaranteed Fit, you're the MVP because when you see that green check, you'll know that part fits your vehicle. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. This week's drive of the week, obvious, came in last night's game between the Steelers and the Falcons. Pittsburgh started the game with an 8-play, 92-yard, ferocious drive where Kenny Pickett completed all 3 of his passes for 70 yards. Najee Harris capped off the drive with a 1-yard TD run. George Pickens, just made catches that are like Lynn Swann in the Super Bowl. Here come the Steelers. But I will stop on my Steelers train for a second because we got to talk college football. I was going back and forth watching a lot of things last night, and I finally got to finish Swamp Kings, Maggie, and there were a lot of problems with the doc on Netflix about the 2005 to 2010 Florida Gators. The number one problem in my mind, they had the wrong journalist interviewed. Feinbaum, of course, is great. And they had another guy, but they did not have our friend Andy Staples.
What a crime.
Who covers college football for On3 Sports. Andy, did they not reach out to you for this Florida documentary on Netflix?
No, they did.
Oh.
What happened?
Well, it pays $0, and I didn't know how it was going to be used, so why would I volunteer for that?
Are you happy? Do you feel like you made the right choice?
Oh, definitely. Definitely, because there's a couple different directions you could go with that. You could go real deep investigative and try to dig up some of the stuff that got buried, or you could go kind of fluffy puff piece. Neither one of those is going to make anybody happy. And then the real deep investigative one, that's the sort of stuff like if I could have gotten that stuff when I was a beat writer covering it, I would have already written it. So I'm not want to get into that, and then I'm not going to want to be part of a puff piece either.
Yeah.
Did you do you buy all the criticism? A lot of people are complaining that they left out so many major storylines, especially the controversial ones.
Well, they did, and they covered some of them, but then didn't do them all the way. Like, you got the part where Urban Meyer's talking about taking Ambien before bed, and conveniently leading out when he had to go to the hospital after they got home from the 2009 SEC championship game. It was a pretty big deal. And that's one of the reasons why he quit when he did and then came back like 2 days later. But that's the sort of thing you probably don't want to leave out. And then, of course, you got the Hernandez stuff. They really didn't touch on that at all. I mean, Aaron Hernandez may have murdered somebody while he was at UF. So I think that's a fairly important thing you might want to mention.
Yeah, we know he murdered somebody later and got convicted for it. But, yeah, even earlier – that's just wild. I mean...
Yeah. At Percy Harvin, they didn't explain anything about who Percy Harvin was at all. Just that he was amazing at football.
Andy. Did we lose you?
We lost you for a second, Andy.
Oh, man. We lost you.
Oh, I'm still here. The Percy Harvin erasure probably was the thing that made me the maddest from a football standpoint because none of that stuff happens offensively between 2006 and 2008 without Percy Harvin. Like, he was so important in terms of not just the scheme and what he could do on the field, because he was the most special in terms of football talent of all of those players. But also, him deciding to go there was what made Florida a cool place to go. Tebow was a big recruit, but Tebow grew up a Florida fan. He was from Florida. Percy was the number one recruit in America, and he's from Virginia. Like, that was the one where they go, where people from around the country looked around and said, oh, Urban Meyer is doing something there.
Andy Staples is our guest, of course, now with On 3, one of our absolute favorites. So, okay, it doesn't seem like the documentary is really making anybody very happy, but, Urban Meyer's legacy at Florida, Andy, did any of this, did the documentary do anything to kind of heal whatever open wounds are left?
Oh, I mean, look, he is what he is. He was a very good coach while he was at Florida. And I don't think anybody's denying that. Are they ever going to put him in the Ring of Honor? I doubt it.
Really? I mean, won 2 titles. Because of the way he left, you mean, Andy? Or because of the troubles off the field?
It's both of those things.
Yeah.
All of that adds up. And so I definitely think there's probably a little too much baggage for that. I think, it's something that he would like, but I'm just not sure it's going to happen.
Andy, I was watching, there's one little snippet of Cam Newton in practice, by the way, and physically it's like, oh my gosh, who is that guy that Dan Mullen is playing around with? Did he ever challenge Tebow? Because I saw he played 2 years there and never really played. Was there? I mean, Cam Newton was, of course, left out of the doc completely, basically. Yeah. Was he ever? Was there excitement that he was going to be the next star before he got in trouble and was kicked off the team?
Yes, there was definitely excitement about that, and the question of whether Tebow would stay for his senior year probably would have been a little more loaded had Newton not gotten in trouble and not gotten kicked off the team, because if Cam was still there and coming back, then at some point you were going to start asking the question, wait, which one of these guys is actually a better quarterback? But, Tebow was such a legend at that point. So, Cam would have probably not been able to take over until 2010, which is when he played at Auburn. So he probably would have been a one-year wonder at the SEC level one way or the other. It's just it would have been at Florida in 2010 instead of poor John Brantley just getting demolished.
Andy Staples is our guest. Check him out on 3 Sports, college football writer. So, Andy, I mean, Tebow, I watched the first half of the first episode, and then I bowed out. Did we learn anything about Tebow? Because, did you learn anything about Tebow? You know this team and that better than anyone.
No. They call the series Untold. All of that stuff had been told. Yeah. Now, some of the stuff was interesting, like behind-the-scenes footage of the workouts.
Oof.
I thought that was really interesting because the players had described all that stuff to me over the years, but seeing it is a completely different thing. And so that was something that I thought was fairly eye-opening and, does give you a window into why those teams were the way they were and why they were so tough and why they were very good very fast.
Wait, so Steve Spurrier never had you guys one-on-one wrestling each other on mats until somebody passed out from a chokehold?
Nobody got choked out. And it's interesting because, the head strength coach when I was there and then the assistant strength coach, the head strength coach was the longtime strength coach for Bob Stoops at Oklahoma. The assistant is currently the strength coach at Oklahoma State. They're both legendary strength coaches, but nothing like that ever. Now, the guy before them was very famous for making people puke in trash cans pretty frequently. So that's the thing is what was going on there was not completely unusual for that time in college football.
Andy, what I found frustrating was that there was so much going around. It whet your appetite to learn about that Florida team, but you didn't learn the whole story. I was actually thinking, I said to Maggie, I'm like, this might be the most interesting college football team I can remember I've ever seen, but you didn't get that in the doc. When you've covered a lot of college football, is that really up there as one of the most interesting as far as overall storylines and characters and quality of football?
I think all pretty good teams are that interesting because you have so many people on the team. Like, you could probably do something on the 2009 through 2012 Alabama teams or the mid-'90s Nebraska teams or the early 2000s Miami. Well, there have already been multiple Miami documentaries, and they were awesome. So when you have a championship football team or one that wins multiple championships, because of the sheer size of the roster, you're going to get tons of characters and then great players who end up becoming successful in the NFL. So that's one of those things where just having a 100-man roster tends to make it very interesting.
But, I mean, Tim Tebow and Aaron Hernandez, I don't know. I mean, Tebow is such a unique thing, though.
Well, and it's so strange, the differences in some of these people. Like, the first person who speaks in the documentary, it's locker room footage from, I believe, 2006. The first person who speaks is Tony Joyner, who was one of the captains on the 2006 team. He's also a convicted murderer. Like, he was convicted recently for a 2016 murder of his girlfriend. He's in jail now. Like, it's crazy how many weird stories were on that team.
That's wild. Andy Staples joining us on 3 college football writer, pardon me. All right, let's bring it a little bit to the present day. We could talk about those Florida teams forever, but put these in order from who you think is going to have the best to the worst season, Andy. We'll keep it in Florida. Florida, FSU, and Miami.
I'd say Florida State will have the best. Then Florida and Miami are kind of tied. I don't think anybody's expecting much from either one, but I think they're going to be better than people think. Florida, the expectations are very low. Like, Vegas has them at 5.5 wins for the over-under. I actually think they're going to be better than that. And then Miami, they've got some good young offensive linemen. That's how you get better quickly, is by getting better up front, and they did that. So, neither one of those I think is going to set the world on fire, but I do think they will exceed expectations. But Florida State has huge expectations. Like, they should be competing for the ACC title. They should be competing for a college football playoff berth. Whether that happens or not will depend on that season opener against LSU and game 1 probably of 2 against Clemson. But they definitely have a very good roster this year. They're old. They've improved in some spots. Like, they got a receiver transfer from Michigan State named Keon Coleman, who looks amazing. I was at Florida State's practice a couple days ago. Like, they got some dudes on that team, and it's amazing how different that roster is than when Mike Norvell took over.
Last night, Andy, watching the Colts play preseason football, and Anthony Richardson looks like a poised veteran. His numbers weren't great, but
it was fun to watch him.
Wait, Perloff, you're being sarcastic, right?
No, I mean, the way he first of all, I know he was 6 for 17, but you could not sack that dude.
Did you watch Gardner Minshew after him?
Yeah, I guess like 15 Eagles defense. That was guys like you in college out there.
Listen, Perloff. How long was Anthony playing against Brandon Graham and Hassan Reddick? 1 series, 2 series?
If that.
No, I don't even think they even play.
I'm not sure those guys even played.
I saw Brandon Graham for a minute. So,
but they scored. I think he had 2 of the first 3 drives were touchdown drives, though.
I listen, against a starting defense running its full complement, I'm a little worried.
Really?
I said this all along. If you're going to draft Anthony Richardson, do not start him the first year. Don't do it. Because what I've seen in the preseason games that he's played looks exactly like what we saw at Florida, except the defenses he's playing against are not running their actual stuff and their backups. So, like, I would be very worried at this point. Like, I know Irsay has said that he's starting, and when the billionaire talks, you have to do what they say. But I think it's a mistake. I think they should let Minshew play a little bit and give him some time. Do what the Chiefs did with Mahomes, because he's young. He needs some time to mature. And you can say, well, he's got to do that on the field. No, he does not, because you might get broken mentally by the kind of monsters you have to play against in the NFL right off the bat. This is a guy who went 6-6 in his 1 year as a college starter. Like, Cam Newton had 1 year as a college starter. He went 13-0.
Yeah, well, Jim Irsay is just full of good ideas. Jeff Saturday as a head coach, all these, maybe going to public war with the best player on your team on the offense, and Jonathan Taylor. The guy's chock full of good ideas. Last one for you, Andy. We could talk about a lot of stuff, but Perloff and I were talking about Caleb Williams, who we're going to see tomorrow against San Jose State. If I gave you Caleb Williams against the field when it comes to the Heisman, who would you take?
The field, because it's really hard to repeat as a Heisman Trophy winner. And that is not a knock on Caleb Williams, who I think has the best chance of anybody who's come back maybe since Archie Griffin, who is the only repeat Heisman winner, to actually repeat. But we will find so many ways to tear him apart. We will set the bar so high for him that it's going to be almost impossible, because not only is he the returning Heisman Trophy winner, he is also the presumed number one pick in the draft. So he's going to have to be perfect, or everybody's just going to be like, well, he did this wrong. He had 2 incomplete passes in this quarter. And listen, he's going to tear it up this year. If he's healthy, he's going to be putting up massive numbers. He's unbelievable. Like, you knew when he was a freshman at Oklahoma when he took over that he is magic with the football in his hands. But I'm telling you, there's a reason only one person has repeated as a Heisman winner. It's really hard because it's a psychological thing. It's not even at this point, is he the best player thing. Like, we're going to find reasons, even though I bet he has an incredible season.
Real quick, Andy, any inclination on who wins the quarterback battle at Alabama and Ohio State?
Well, the Alabama one's a mystery to me because nobody's perfect, obviously, or they would have already named it, but they're different kind of players. Like, Jalen Milroe is a much better runner. Ty Simpson's a better thrower. Tyler Buckner's kind of a mishmash of the two. And it really is going to depend on what they want that offense to look like. And my suspicion is they're going to run a lot more than they have in the past few years. Like, Alabama was a very pass-happy team in the past 3 years. Like, they're going to run to set up the pass as opposed to passing to run, which is what they've been doing. So that's why, the logic seems to favor Milroe in that one. But I really don't know. Ohio State, Kyle McCord versus Devin Brown, they're going to play them both against Indiana in the season opener, just who looks better. McCord played with Marvin Harrison Jr. in high school. You'd assume there's some chemistry there. You'd also assume that because McCord backed up C.J. Stroud, that he would have the edge. But I think he would have already won the job if Brown hadn't really impressed. So that said, I might lean towards Brown because it's been harder for him to get into this position where they're going to play both of them. That means he has really impressed them.
Andy, can't tell you how much we appreciate this. We're right on the eve here of college football starting for real. Andy Staples, host of Andy Staples on 3 and On 3 Sports college football writer. We'll talk to you soon, Andy. Thank you.
Two of my favorite people. Thank you so much, Maggie.
Appreciate you. That's Andy Staples.
I love that that was so smart. Andy was invited to be in the Swamp Kings documentary and said no. That's tough. I say yes to everything.
Well, also the opening of an envelope.
Like, would you guys, if Netflix called you up and said, hey, you want to be in a documentary about the college football team you covered and went to and played on? Who says no to that?
Well, he was smart because this one has been universally panned. I mean, not because of the reporters. Like, nobody's individually criticizing anyone who's in the doc. It's just the doc as a whole has not. It just they had access, and the filmmakers just didn't do enough with it.
Yeah, I mean, Samter, if BU hockey, if they're doing a Netflix special, Untold Story, you're going on there, right?
Oh, absolutely, with ice skates on and everything.
Guys, I was in the Manziel doc. I didn't even know it.
By the way, yeah, congratulations. We never talked about that.
I meant to.
That was so Europe. Cool. Yeah. The Johnny Manziel. What was the question you asked? Do you remember?
No, it's like an old clip from me doing a hit on CNN this morning. And the guy is asking me about the top 5. I think it's the top 5 biggest sports stories of the year. And it was like a Sports Illustrated end of the year thing. And I was a talking head for Sports Illustrated.
Wait, you actually remember the details now?
I'm making that up as I'm filling it in.
Okay, that's impressive. Perloff, we had an entire conversation, you missed it, where she's like, I have no recollection of this moment, who I'm talking to, where I am, and what I'm doing.
No clue. I would have passed a lie detector test that was not me. I didn't know, but it is me. And
it was CNN this morning. Who was the host?
I have no idea.
Oh.
I know. I remember John Berman being one of the hosts because he was a sports guy. He was at ESPN, I think, for a little bit. John Berman on CNN.
A young man they call Johnny Football.
Johnny Football, huh?
Yeah, Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel. There I am.
Yeah, you sound great.
I don't know why they needed me to say Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel.
That's all you said?
That's it.
It still made a heck of a tweet to be in the documentary.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Blink and you'll miss it, guys. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Coming up, why tomorrow will be a little different for Aaron Rodgers making his preseason debut with the Jets. We get to that after this CBS Sports Update. Here's Erica Herskowitz.
Sports Flash.
All right, Maggie, 3 games highlight the NFL preseason schedule tonight, starting with the Panthers hosting the Lions, then the Patriots visit the Titans, and the Niners wrap things up at home against the Chargers. Niners GM John Lynch says he expects Trey Lance to be on the roster when the season gets underway in a couple of weeks. Lance lost out on that backup job to Sam Darnold earlier this week, and while San Francisco is still exploring trade options for Lance, Lynch says the third-string job is still in play for Week 1 against Pittsburgh. Over to baseball, where the league suspended Padres reliever Robert Suarez 10 games for using the banned sticky stuff. Suarez, who says it was sunscreen, was ejected in the 8th inning of Wednesday's game against the Marlins. Meanwhile, the Angels placed Mike Trout back on the 10-day injured list with a fractured bone in his left hand. And he won't pitch, but the Angels say Shohei Ohtani will continue to DH as the two-way star receives treatment for his torn UCL. And that includes tonight when the Angels open up a weekend set against the Mets in Queens. Ohtani getting a second opinion regarding a possible second Tommy John surgery. And 5-time All-Star and 4-time Golden Glove winner, outfielder Adam Jones announced he will retire from baseball with the Orioles on September 15th. I'm Erica Herskowitz.
Hey, it's DA. Be sure to listen to CBS Sports Radio at home. Ask Alexa to play CBS Sports Radio.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Perloff, you, CBS Sports Radio on this Friday, Summer Friday. We don't have a lot of them left, guys. We got to cherish it. Samter, can you update the poll results? Perloff came in very high on the Pittsburgh Steelers today. The term was Super Bowl contender.
I said, when you're looking at Super Bowl picks, you have to at least consider the Steelers, which I guess that makes them a contender.
Yeah, that's a roundabout way. Yeah. Super Bowl contender.
You have to consider the Arizona Cardinals. And then you decide no.
Let me consider it. No.
The poll is simply, Perloff says, don't sleep on the Steelers as a legit contender. Are they? Yes or no?
Yeah, what do you got?
Perloff, it has gone down significantly from the 95% that it was early on. It is still 77% say that there's no chance the AFC is too tough.
All right. That is what they call a landslide right now. But let's go to the
77% is not a landslide. It has to be above 80 for a landslide.
Wow.
855-212-4CBS. Yeah, and I'm 6'3", 215. Let's go to Sam, who's in Portland, Oregon. Hey, Sam, how are you?
Fantastic. It's a beautiful day, and it's great to finally agree with Perloff on something. I've been a Steeler fan since I was 7. I go back to Pittsburgh every year to see a game. I see them on the West Coast. I would consider myself some sort of an expert. So I want to first a statement. The more the NFL changes, the more it stays the same. Would you guys agree with that?
What way?
In the sense, here's my example. Tomlin has never had a losing season.
Right.
14 years. So as you know, as much as it's changed, the one thing that's been consistent, and there's a lot of consistencies, you know, as far as teams that are usually good or bad. Tomlin's been, you know, he's never had a losing season. So what that means is, if you expect it to stay the same, he's going to have 9 wins. The Steelers haven't gotten worse this year. They've gotten better. They've added some good players through the draft and developed some good players. So if they win 9, it's not that far to say that they can get 3 more, 9, 10, 11, 12. That puts them in the playoffs. If they get in the playoffs, I think they can make a run, especially.
Wait, Sam, hold on one second, though. Sam, I appreciate what you're saying, and I agree with you on all of your points. But I could also say the same thing about every other team in the AFC North. Everyone else got better. So
I don't agree with that.
Well, I appreciate that, Sam. Thank you so much for the phone call, pal.
How'd the Bengals get better? By watching their quarterback limp around?
No, they got a new left tackle.
Yeah, I don't know. I think those other teams they're so evenly matched. Don't you see every time Baltimore and Pittsburgh go out, and Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, all those AFC, there's going to be dogfights every one of those games.
No doubt. It's always a dogfight, but it's not like the Steelers did get better and they already are working off of 9 wins and a 7-2 finish off the season. but it's not like the rest of the division was just like, sitting on their hands. Like, they also got better. So
yeah, but I think the Steelers Nation, which I am now part of, I think we're all excited.
Be an Eagle and Steeler?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think we're all excited about the fact that they were so good with TJ Watt. The record was great last year with TJ Watt. I think 8-3. And Kenny Pickett was 5-1 in his last 6 starts. That's nothing to laugh at. That's Detroit Lions territory, Maggie. We're hot.
There you go. It's time to answer our Ask the Pros question of the day. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Today, question comes from Max in Philly. Do you dance with your eyes closed like Nikola Jokic? You can submit a question by tweeting at CBS Sports Radio or at Maggie and Pearl using the hashtag #AskThePros. Got to think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Now, we're going to have to describe this, and as professional broadcasters, I think we can do it justice. Thanks for the confidence. Nikola Jokic is presumably in Serbia. This video surfaced, Perloff, where he's at a nightclub. He's on a chair. Everyone else is on the floor. Everyone's dancing. And here's Nikola Jokic, who's already 7 feet tall, standing on a chair, towering over the rest of the crowd, drink in hand, and also for some reason a white napkin. And he's just dancing, eyes closed, grooving. He knows every word to this hit song. Is that an accordion there? This is like, it's like Serbian polka music. And forgive us because this is audio through somebody's social media handle because we don't know what this song is. We can't find it.
I tried to look it up, and I could not find it. I tried to do Shazam.
Yeah.
And my Shazam does not translate to Serbian.
It's just like, what's the song? Sha, sha, sha. What is he saying? I beg people on social media, somebody please translate this for us so we can find the song. But I guess I don't have any followers that speak Serbian.
So, first of all, I think he was doing a nice job dancing. I think he's got some moves. I don't know if he could dance to a more upbeat song, but he's perfect for this song.
I'm going to try to theater the mind this. Like, if you give someone like a thumbs up, like, hey, thumbs up. He's thumbs like to each side. It's not quite the Elaine because he's got much more rhythm than that. But thumbs out.
Oh, is he doing the thumbs? Okay.
He was doing the thumbs.
But you could do that at a song, in Serbian, that is considered hip dancing.
I get it. I'm jealous. And, sometimes I also am somebody who will dance with my eyes closed, and it's not on purpose. But you look a certain way when you're dancing with your eyes closed, no?
Yes, definitely. It's sort of like, the old white man's overbite. Yeah, I think there's certain things that they're clues that you're not the world's best dancer.
Oh, man, I love it.
He's
doing thumbs for half of it, then he picks up a glass of wine or something.
There's a note in Serbian that describes what's going on. Do they speak Serbian? Is that a language? Probably, right?
Yeah, isn't it?
I'm not sure what they do in the former Yugoslavia. But can I read this, or is it possible that it's going to get me in trouble?
Well, they speak Serbian in Serbia, yes.
Okay. Well, basically, I have the lyrics here.
Oh, you have the lyrics?
Well, in Serbian. Or at least I have a note describing what he's doing. Nidvise koveka pajo na stigoko, smiley face, muscle, 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 svetsky anas, muscle, muscle, muscle.
Do you have any idea what you just said?
No, I just hope.
Is the Serbian FCC going to find us?
Am I going to cancel in Serbia?
I don't know. We have no idea what you said. Do you know what you said?
No.
Oh, boy, that's dangerous.
Oh, man.
Yikes.
It's been nice working with you, Andrew.
Yeah, I know. Does anyone have Google Translate can do the last 30 seconds of the show?
We can't get the lyrics to the song.
I don't know the name of it. Wait, what did you just say?
I don't know, but I'm watching many videos. I've been watching videos of this Jokic dancing the last 15 minutes, and there are all these like notes in Serbian, like, yeah, you go, MVP. That's what I'm assuming it says. I hope, by the way, I totally apologize if it says something classless. But this is there's a lot of emojis in this one. It seems harmless. Oh, no.
The real question is, the guy's
Take that out of the podcast.
Yeah. He's 7 feet tall. Why do you have to stand in a chair?
Because when you're feeling it, you're feeling it.
I guess.
Would you be worried if you're a Nuggets fan that your star player is dancing on a chair.
Yeah, what if he falls off the chair and breaks his knee?
Can we just hear it again? Just because I love that when I tell you, this is all these beautiful people in a club. And they're dancing to polka music. What's Stash? Stash. Oh, it's so good. It makes me want to travel to Serbia immediately. This is a young, hip crowd in this video. There's all these beautiful women around him. Not in that way, but young, attractive people. And Jokic's goofy butt up there just dancing on a chair.
I think you'd be pretty goofy when you have millions of dollars and multiple MVPs.
You know what's so funny? It's honestly, I know that people in the NBA get kind of upset because he doesn't do more to promote the league and stuff like that. But I mean, this guy's living his life. I get it. He likes horses and standing on tables, dancing to accordion music and polka.
Wait, actually, I wasn't aware. There's an argument that Jokic doesn't promote the league.
Yeah.
Do people want Jokic to promote the league?
No, that's more of an insider argument that he doesn't do any media. He doesn't. It doesn't seem like it's business partnership with the NBA. Hey, we all got to promote the league here and try to make this better. And he's just I need the private jet so I can get home to Serbia.
It's a little Tim Duncan-ish.
He didn't seem to react at first to even winning the title. It didn't seem. Yeah. We know it means something to him, but. All right, you guys can catch me in a Serbian club next summer. I'm out of here.
Exclusive interview.
Coming up, we do have Aaron Rodgers news and also, oh man, why is tomorrow going to be a little different for the former MVP?
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The Altuve buzzer is definite.
Oh, you guys are nuts if you think he actually had a buzzer under there. He did it.
What? Wait, Stu, do you believe the buzzer?
I believe the buzzer.
You do?
I think everybody believes the buzzer.
No. Think about how silly that really is. You think all these years later, nobody would have spilled the beans, nobody said a word?
Yeah, but it was so awkward the way he was hiding something.
No, he had a stupid tattoo and didn't want people to rip his shirt off.
Oh, get out of here.
I believe that.
Who on earth?
Sure.
Anyone I know with a tattoo wants to show that tattoo more than anything in the world.
Wow, you guys, I thought I was a conspiracy theorist around here. You guys sound whack.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Aaron Rodgers in a Jets uniform playing in a preseason game tonight. Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. It is Maggie and Perloff across the country on CBS Sports Radio. You want to watch the show? Come on in. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Of course, we say good afternoon to our incredible CBS Sports Radio affiliates. So, Rodgers tonight.
Tomorrow night.
Excuse me, tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Did I say tonight? Tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm super excited, I guess, just to see a little of Rodgers. And here's a couple reasons why. Number one, I do want to see what's going on with the offensive line. Now, people have talked about that. It is a priority when you have a 40-year-old quarterback with Super Bowl aspirations that your offensive line be able to block well enough for him. And that's kind of a question mark. Not kind of. That's a massive question mark for the Jets.
But aren't you concerned that preseason is not going to tell us anything about whether the Jets' offensive line is working?
Well, I'd like to see the center quarterback snap exchanges. I mean, this is all the stuff that made Hard Knocks that we were wondering how it's going to look.
I would temper your expectations on getting any real information because how many series is he going to play?
I don't know. And then secondly,
2?
I would like to see, deep ball to Garrett Wilson. We'll see if there's any chemistry.
You started the show by telling me not to read into Kenny Pickett tearing it up. You cannot possibly. That's Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
You cannot read anything one way or the other into this preseason game.
I'm not. I'm just saying I want to see it. And then thirdly, is Dalvin Cook going to suit up?
Nah.
I don't know if he needs to. I don't know if he would. He just got to the Jets.
God, I can't wait for this to hopefully not work. I really
You're hoping it doesn't work.
I mean, I know, Samper, you're a Jets fan, but as you're a neutral fan, how can you possibly not root against the Jets? It's because it's been such an obnoxious offseason. It's been probably the most obnoxious offseason in the history of the NFL.
Okay, well, I'll maybe meet you in the middle there. It has been a little obnoxious. However, I think that it's fascinating because nobody's running from the expectations. Like, it's not like Rodgers got to the Jets and was like, hey, guys, listen, it's going to take a while. He's, I got to ease into this thing. I'm getting used to a whole new franchise after 18 years at a different one. He's like, we need to win a Lombardi trophy now. And this all depends on whether or not I retire. If we have a magical season, maybe I'll stay for another couple of years. If we don't have a magical season, I'll stay. If we do, I might ride off into the sunset. If we're a Super Bowl champion, we're talking about this New York Jets here who have more hard luck history than not. So you could be annoyed by it, but to be fair to the Jets, they didn't ask for Hard Knocks, and it did seem like they really were trying to get out of it. Now they're really making the most of it, and it's being jammed down all of our throats.
Oh, that's a shocker. They're like, well, don't put us on Hard Knocks. Don't put us on Hard Knocks. And then it becomes a 7-hour Aaron Rodgers hype Instagram video.
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, did you see him shy away from 1 second of Hard Knocks camera? That was so ridiculous. The don't put us on Hard Knocks was the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. But you knew he wanted to be on Hard Knocks. And then I've never seen a Hard Knocks season that was so focused on the star quarterback. It was basically an Aaron Rodgers vanity project.
Well, I mean, he's giving them like some pretty good access.
So what happened to that we don't want Hard Knocks around? He forgot about all that?
You know what I think it was? I think it was probably a little bit of like a leverage play, if you will, because maybe they didn't want to show, they want a little bit more control maybe than teams usually get, or they didn't want the cameras to show guys getting cut. I don't know if that was just a BS line or if that was true. Okay,
this might work for the Jets. They might win the Super Bowl. But I am telling you right now, because I've seen this happen before. We have been lifting up the Jets. The joy of the national media, if the Jets are bad, it's going to be like Christmas through season, the entire season, because they have been elevating these Jets. Oh, this is great. Aaron Rodgers is a mentor, ... If it goes wrong, it is going to be it's going to be vicious.
Yeah. Well, we do love to build people up to tear them down. Not we, like you and me. But...
Yeah, I kind of enjoy it.
Hey.
I don't know what... just the fact that, like, this Aaron... Why is it a big deal that Aaron Rodgers is playing in the preseason?
Because he hasn't played in a preseason since 2018.
Why? Oh, so
and it's a new team.
Yeah, it's a new team, and he's playing 2 series in the preseason. Patrick Mahomes played the other night, and nobody even blinked at that.
I know, because we just pencil Patrick Mahomes into the Super Bowl every year. This is the Jets we're talking about. They haven't made the playoffs in over a decade.
I don't know. I just feel like every little thing that should not be a big deal has become a big deal with the Jets.
Wait, it was like this with Favre. They weren't on Hard Knocks that year, but it was like this.
No, the media is different. No, it wasn't like this with Favre. We didn't have hours of Brett Favre speaking every day. We just didn't.
Well,
it was 2009, right? It was that the year? It just was so different. I think that was the year Twitter started, and I think social media was different. I mean, honestly, we do easily have enough content to do a Rodgers segment every day. He speaks at least for 14 minutes a day to the media. It was not like that with Favre.
No, but every little thing was dissected. I remember there was a training camp practice, at least I'm talking about a preseason game. There was a training camp practice where he and Nick Mangold, the all-pro center, friend of the show, who they botched something. They had a false start penalty or something like that, and they both had to run a lap, and it was like leading the news that day.
Yeah.
So we blew a lot of things out of proportion.
I don't think it's anything like this.
We were excited when Peyton Manning went to Denver, when Tom Brady went to the Bucs. If the pandemic hadn't been going on, it would have been even crazier in terms of coverage.
Yes, but it wasn't. I mean, it was nothing like this. This has been the most ever. Even Peyton Manning, I admit, we did follow his private jet around when he was trying to find a team.
Yeah.
But once he got to Denver, I don't remember the first preseason.
He won an MVP.
No, he was great, but it wasn't like every day. It wasn't the Peyton Manning show nationally. Now it's like it's every single day is the Aaron Rodgers show on every single national show. It's driving me crazy.
Well, as much as you want to see the Jets fail and you're going to revel in that, watching you go crazy with the Jets hype is kind of making me happy.
I know, but trust me,
watching you go insane a little bit every day.
I'm the tip of the spear because people hate the Jets, people hate New York sports, and people kind of like Aaron Rodgers, but I think the real hateable part is going to be the Jets and New York. I don't think Rodgers.
Well, yeah, I mean that's already happened.
Because if it fails, everyone's going to be like, "Well, same old Jets."
Yeah, right.
It's not going to be. No one's going to blame Rodgers.
Probably not. Let's get to our NFL preseason debate countdown.
NFL preseason debates countdown.
Well, we stay in the AFC East for this one. Oh, I forgot that there was a number on there. Sorry, Stu and Mike and Big Voice Guy. 13 days until the NFL season starts. We're inside of 2 weeks, people. Yes. Today's countdown and debate question is this, Perloff. Have the Miami Dolphins made a mistake by sticking with Tua?
That is so tough because I love Tua. Yes. He's entering his 4th season. Now, they were arguably the best offense in the league when he was playing last year. But there's two things that could happen this year. One, he gets hurt, and they squander a chance to be a really special team.
Yep.
They have incredible talent around him, and they improved their defense tremendously, added Vic Fangio as defensive coordinator. So that would be bad. Option two, he's healthy. They do really well. Then guess what? You have to throw $250 million at the guy.
Yeah.
How long do you think he's going to play, Maggie? So this is a really fraught situation as a franchise. I totally understand what they do, and I'm a big Tua fan. I think he's a really good quarterback. He seems like a good dude. But I just worry Miami's sort of pinned into this weird situation.
I understand why they stuck with Tua. You think that it was a mistake? I don't think it was a mistake because you watched how that offense operated when he was healthy. And that is so, like, tantalizing. Like, you can't unsee it. Just like we can't unsee him getting clearly a concussion in that game against Buffalo and the team calling it a back injury. Like, we can't unsee, and I hope we don't have anything nearly as gruesome as last season because that was really tough to watch as fans and kind of made us like, ugh, like you really had to confront what are we watching here? It's like human cockfighting. But Tua, when he runs that offense, is just so proficient. And you could say, well, anyone could run that offense.
Well, I was about to say that, actually.
Okay, you could say that, but I do think there was something extra special when Tua was there. And now here's the interesting situation. Not to get too deep into the Dolphins' depth chart here, but they ran out and immediately signed Mike White as a backup because Teddy Bridgewater also got hurt last year. Well, Mike White got hurt last year. Mike White's had concussions. Mike White's had broken ribs and not been able to play. He's not the picture of health either. It was Skylar Thompson who started the playoff game in Buffalo that they narrowly won. He's still on the roster. I understand why they stayed with him. And also, who else were they going to go after? Jimmy Garoppolo? Same injury concerns. Were you going to go with, like...
I mean, there's one name that stands out that we just talked about.
Aaron Rodgers.
They could have gotten in on
That's
Aaron
what I remember. I was saying. I went in the darkness retreat and I came out and said Rodgers to the Dolphins.
And you got in my head because I think Rodgers has a great chance to be really good with the Jets. It would have been something special with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. That would have guaranteed offensive fireworks. Why not? Why didn't they get? I don't think did they not have a first round pick? Was that part of it?
Remember, it got taken away.
Yeah. So
because of the Tom Brady, the tampering thing.
Well, you wanted Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, I remember actually, I'm having flashbacks to March. You're like, man, this Miami team is so good. You got to at least look at Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers.
Absolutely. I was surprised that they didn't. However, I do understand why they stuck with Tua because it is so good. I guess I would say this too. I just am curious. He's added some extra muscle.
Yeah.
He's doing jiu-jitsu. Is any of this stuff going to work? Is any of this stuff going to matter?
So dubious. I mean, he's got to get rid of the ball. He cannot hold on to it at all. That's part of what the concussions were. He can't run much. It's nerve-wracking. And we're always going to be watching. I think we both enjoy watching that team play, but it's always going to be in the back of fans' minds, at least. And I can imagine the team.
So the other interesting thing is that the Dolphins have kind of been sniffing around basically every running back who has been quasi, maybe pseudo available this offseason. They have Raheem Mostert as their starter. They got Jeff Wilson. They drafted A-Chain,
Devon
A-Chain, who people are maybe expecting some fun things from.
Yeah. But and also they never run the ball at all. So that's part of it too.
I mean, Waddle's got to get 100 touches and Tyreek Hill's got to get 100. You talked about math the other day, Maggie. It's simple math. So I'm trying to do that too. But
but you're right, though. They seem to be in, at least somebody's reporting that they're in on all these guys.
Well, the report was the Colts turned down the Dolphins' offer for Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
So we don't know what the offer was.
It definitely was not a first-round pick.
No.
I would think. There's no way the Dolphins would offer that because they don't need Jonathan Taylor that badly.
Here's the thing. I don't think Jonathan Taylor will get traded for a first-round pick, but Chris Ballard, the general manager of the Colts, might be stuck in a really tough spot because it's one thing if you're just trying to get a great return on a guy and get one over on another GM. It's another if the owner, who Jim Irsay is not exactly Mr. I don't know how. It seems like he and Jonathan Taylor have a pretty bad relationship, or at least he and Jonathan Taylor's agent have a really bad relationship. Is this to the point that it's so toxic that the owner's like, I don't care if you get 50 cents on the dollar as a return here.
Yeah.
He can't be in the building. The deadline is Tuesday. He's got to be out of the building by Wednesday.
I worry that they might not even be able to get 50 cents Because I think there are 31 other teams who do not want to pay Jonathan Taylor what he wants. It's a tragic story about running backs. Like, why is nobody's going to trade something like a second-round pick and then sign him to a contract that they're uncomfortable with? It just doesn't the math doesn't work out. Nobody wants to pay him.
Okay, but here's the thing. At least for Miami, and I know they have a lot of high-priced players at certain positions, not a quarterback. I mean, that is the one thing about having 2 on the rookie deal. Now, it's not going to be for long.
Not at all. I mean, it has to be this offseason.
But I'm just saying they do have, in theory, if they're not, it depends what the future holds for Tua, they may have another cheapish option at quarterback if it doesn't work out. But then it means it didn't work out and you're looking for a quarterback, which is not great.
And also, too, you just wasted a year of Jonathan Taylor. It's a funny fit to me. It could happen. You know what team people are bringing up for Taylor is the Eagles a lot, who always try and get bargains. I got to be honest, and I'm an Eagles fan, but I would not do a trade with the Eagles. They have been ripping people off the last couple of years.
Just ask the Saints.
Yeah, exactly. And so I don't know if this Eagles see something, then maybe, but they probably called and said, I'll give you a 3rd-round pick for him, and I think the Colts want more. I don't think they're going to get it.
Yeah, but how do you know Jonathan Taylor's going to even show up if you're not going to give him some kind of guaranteed money? Like at least a handshake deal or something like, hey, we're going to sign you to a future contract.
I think it's worth the risk. Unless it's a top 2 rounds pick, but I don't think that's happening because of the money. It's the money and running back. It's not the quality of player at all.
No, that's a lot to give up though for a rental. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. I want to give a special shout out to a certain Weedo.
Who's that?
YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Well, one of our faves, and that's Michael in California, who is the author and chef of the Weedo's recipe book, which you can find on our unofficial Facebook page, which is run by another one of our very special listeners, Nick in Texas. It's the Perloffs, Thee Perloffs. You'll see a big picture of me in a duck suit and Perloff in a suit. Big, you can't miss us. And Michael has posted a recipe every single Friday. And I got to tell you, he outdid himself.
Yeah, what do we got for this last summer weekend?
Jambalaya. And I love a jambalaya. And I'm telling you, this thing has 5,000 ingredients in it. I bet it's worth every single one. Going to Facebook, checking out the photos. It looks delicious. So, Michael, we salute you. Better you than me burning the house down. It really has. Look at all the ingredients here. I mean, chicken, andouille sausage, bell peppers, celery, jalapeno pepper, white onion, garlic, crushed can of tomatoes, chicken stock, rice, pound of large shrimp, okra.
Oh, a pound of shrimp. This sounds amazing. Mm-hmm. Wait, you said you'd burn it. Are you not a cook?
No.
Wow.
Skipped a gene. Skipped a generation.
Do you never cook at home? Like, will you make anything? Like,
I can make something, but you're not going to want to eat it. I mean, I am, you know what I'm really good at?
No.
Ordering off the menu. Excellent. I can do it for the whole table. I'm really good when it comes to restaurants. I feel like that's a special skill.
Do you do the order off the menu and just leave it? This might be a question for the advice doc. Or do you do the order off the menu and make 37 changes and they get upset when they miss one of them?
I mean, dressing on the side. Can I substitute the chicken for the shrimp? Yeah. Sure. But I think I'm good. Like if we go to, say, Chinese restaurant or something, or we go to a place where you generally share a lot of dishes and say we have a group of like 12 people, I'm totally comfortable ordering for the table.
That's a good skill.
Yeah. It comes in handy because some people just don't want to even like look at the menu or read it. I'm talking to the waiter. I'm getting the specials. Like I'll order for everybody.
I thought ordering off the menu meant that you ordered something that was not on the menu.
No. I'm just like good at picking out. I think I generally pick out the best thing at each restaurant. Like if you ever do that thing where you get an entree and I get an entree and you look at it, it's like, oh, you won. Like I generally win those things. I'm good at it. I can't cook to save my life.
Okay. You guys good cooks, either of you?
I can cook the basics. That's about it.
I used to work in an Italian restaurant, and so back in the day, I was a lot better. I was like a waiter and a bartender. But
is this the place that was substituting the Jack Daniels for the?
Yes. The guy was a crazy. I mean, he drank. You'd get there at 9 o'clock in the morning. He'd still be drinking from the night before. He was crazy, partying all night in his 50s and 60s.
Best job ever.
Best job ever. Actually, I feel like I mean, he was like right by the Giants spring training area. I feel like DP would come in there every now and again and have dinner there. It was a great spot.
Oh, that bar?
Yeah.
Oh, there's one bar that Dan hung out in Phoenix that everybody in the sports industry.
This was in Old Town Scottsdale, right by the stadium.
Yeah.
It was
I've heard
great spot, great food.
Definitely.
The food was incredible, but the chefs in the back would always show me how to make stuff. So I can do like chicken piccata, chicken marsala, little shrimp scampi. So I was able to learn a lot of things. I've retained a few of them, but not a ton.
Wait a minute. We've been working together for like 2 years. You were working at a place where Dan Patrick used to come in, and you never mentioned it to Perloff?
I've talked to Perloff about it.
Oh, okay. I
don't know if Perloff was ever there with him, but like I've definitely waited on DP before.
DP loves Phoenix. I guess Phoenix spring training and went every year. And he told me, or someone told me, he always used to go to the same bar.
Apparently, Samter was pouring him shots.
An Italian restaurant/bar. It's called the Italian Grotto.
Yeah, it wasn't Downside Risk or Marley's or like the places where everybody went. He liked like a quiet place.
It was it was always busy, but it was like a small 20-table, family-owned Italian restaurant from this guy.
Why did
from the
we
Bronx.
go there when we were in Phoenix?
They closed down before we got. Yeah, they closed down like 4 years ago, or right about the pandemic. They closed down.
That's a shame.
Oh, that's a good reason for us not to go there.
Well, yeah.
Very sad.
So you're there serving Dan Patrick shots of Jack Daniels when he thought it was high end.
I may or may not have done that. No, I think Dan was more of a wine guy.
There we go. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Coming up, the advice ducks in the house, Gil. And boy, does she have a conundrum on her hands. The pond, it's getting a little crazy today. We'll get to that in just a moment, right after this.
All right, this show is sponsored in part by BetterHelp. Sometimes in life, we're faced with tough choices, and the path forward isn't always clear. Whether you're dealing with decisions around career, relationships, or anything else, therapy helps you stay connected to what you really want while you navigate life, so you can move forward with confidence and excitement. Trusting yourself to make decisions that align with your values is like anything. The more you practice it, the easier it gets. Therapy can give you the tools to find more balance in your life, so you can keep supporting others without leaving yourself behind.
And we've all been in tough and unpredictable times over the last few years, and it's not a sign of weakness to ask for help. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, you got to give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/MNP, Maggie and Perloff, today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/MNP.
You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Oh, yeah. That time of week, there's a duck in the house. I think you should do the Nikola Jokic dance in the duck costume at some point. The Serbian folk rock Nikola Jokic
Well, I
dance.
have to be like standing on the desk.
Oh, no. Do not do this. You will die. It's already hard enough to
Wait,
bow.
could you play the music, Stu?
I think you're going to go out of camera frame.
I'm gonna go totally out of camera.
Yeah. Maggie is in a duck costume standing on a desk.
He was doing like this kind of. Anyway, okay. Enough about me. Sorry, Sandra. I'm not getting enough video for you. All right. Sorry, we got off track there.
Yeah, so...
I'm sorry. Someone needed some
Once you
advice?
see a giant duck dancing on a chair to a Serbian folk song, it's hard to get back on track.
Oh, come on. We're professionals.
Advice duck time. What do we got?
Okay, Samter, you had the first question from the Advice Duck. Who was it from?
This comes in from Ben in Westchester.
Okay.
And he wants to know if you have a friend who is celebrating a birthday or some other sort of event and is asking friends to donate to a charity in lieu of a gift,
right?
Whether they're running a race or they're celebrating a birthday, do you have to agree with the charity that they are asking to donate for in order to donate the money? The reason he asks is he was about to donate to his friend's birthday charity when he realized it was for a cat rescue, and he hates cats, and he refuses to donate money to a cat rescue.
What?
Oh, man. Wow. That is a doozy. So someone's asking you to donate to the charity in lieu of gifts, but you don't agree with the charity.
Wait, now, by the way, in Seinfeld, didn't George Costanza during Christmas season give out donations to a fake charity?
Yeah, totally. Fund. Yeah, they give money to people.
The World Fund, right?
Human Fund.
Human Fund, yeah.
Money for people.
So this feels a little tagline. But I think this person sounds like a jerk. I mean, I even if you don't like cats, you cannot be against a charity that saves cats.
Okay, but here's the thing. I mean, no offense to the cats, but there are maybe other more pressing matters out there that may need your donation.
Yeah, if I'm going to donate money and give my money, hard-earned money, I mean, working with you guys is really hard. So, like, if I'm going to give that money to somebody, I'm going to have to make sure that the charity is something that I really want to work with.
I totally disagree with this. First of all, tell your boss. Our boss is a gigantic advocate of animal rights.
I already said when I saw the question, I was like, don't let Spike see this one.
Yeah.
He's not going to be happy.
I just think that if it was a dog charity, we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
That's true. There's a little anti-cat sentiment.
Yeah. I'm allergic to cats, and I'd donate.
Here's the thing with the advice Duck says. I think, how funny would it be if they say, in lieu of gifts, please donate to this charity. You go, in lieu of donating to your charity, I'm donating to a different charity.
Yeah.
Or in lieu of donating to your charity, here's a gift.
That's actually a good idea.
Yeah, you could say, but you can't tell someone, I think your charity sucks, and I'm not going to give money to it.
Why can't you? I think that's better to give money to another charity than to not give money at all. Just say nothing. Say, I'm not giving the cat.
Well, I was saying, what if you said, in lieu of giving to your charity, I'm giving you a gift? It's like, here's your bottle of scotch.
No. In lieu of giving your charity, I'm giving to the human fund, is what you say. So you say, just make up, say, I gave to, I don't know, Red Cross or something. Just lie.
Wait a minute. I think what you do, if you really disagree with the charity, I think Perloff's onto it. I think you donate to a different charity. And you say, hey, I made a charity. No, I mean really give the money.
Quote, unquote, donate to another charity. We help people.
Really give the money. And then I think you say, hey, I did make a donation to the charity. Just not your stupid charity. I'm just kidding. No charity's stupid. Okay.
Wait, that's not true. There's about 47% of charities are complete scams. Let's just start right there.
I know. That's a little bit unnerving.
And there are probably some very dumb charities out there.
Yeah. I don't think saving cats... Because listen. Wait, what do they actually do? Are they just
it's like an animal shelter, and they just you have to. There's people who work it, and they feed them, and they take them for.
Got it.
Walks, I guess, on a leash.
Probably not the walks part.
Okay, next one. This one comes from Courtney, who's in Wichita, who says, "I got an email that I have family who wants to come stay with me. It's my sister, her husband, and their 2 kids who are both under the age of 5. How long is the appropriate amount of time to house them? They're coming and staying in the area for a month."
Ooh.
That's 2.
It's a long time.
Oh, but it's family. Okay, here's the thing, Courtney. First of all, it's going to depend on what kind of square footage we're working on at your house.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what can you give your family? Is it going to be someone literally sleeping on your couch for a month? Is it going to have to be disrupt your family to put their kids in a different bed? What's it going to be? Because that directly correlates to how long they can stay.
Right.
So if you've got like a guest room and a bathroom, I think you offer like a week or more, like 2 weeks, maybe the full time.
For me to spend a part of a month with family, I didn't need to live in the Taj Mahal, so I'd be 16 miles away. There's no house big enough to fit my family in the same house as me. I think you see them at the kitchen table all day anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what it's going to be. A lot of time. I think the minimum you can offer is a full week. Maximum is the whole month.
Okay, a week you could deal with. A whole month. Can you imagine having no end in sight of your family being in your house?
It's like the scene in Christmas Vacation when cousin Eddie pulls up in the RV and he goes, "Hey, like nice van." He's like, "Well, don't fall in love with it. We're taking it when we leave next month."
Oh.
One of my favorite lines. What do you guys think? How long? I think minimum a week for family.
I say 3 days.
Even for a sibling?
Oh, especially a sibling.
I know, Stu, you're an only child, but still.
Yeah.
You can weigh in on this.
I'd say a week. I think that's max.
Samter, you got brothers.
Yeah, a week feels like a really long time.
It is a long time.
I mean, I love my family, but a week?
Yeah.
That's a long
Jeez, guys.
time.
Samter would donate to a charity just to get them the hell out. The charity is called Penske Truck, and it's moving you.
Yeah. It's called Fairfield Inn.
Yeah, it's
I'll
called
donate
Airbnb.
my family to the cat rescue.
Yeah, you're right. The donation is to Airbnb, where we found you a nice place to stay.
I'm so awful. Like, I love my family and I love my extended family, but I find spending too much time with them sheer torture.
I get that.
No,
I understand what you're saying.
No, actually, it's something. I just don't like house guests. I do like. What are you guys' philosophy? I just do not. I like my space. I don't like having other people there overnight.
I think it depends what kind of house you have. Like if you're working with what Russell Wilson and Ciara have in Denver, it's like, all right, come stay with us. We'll never even see you. We've got 25 bedrooms and whatever. If you got a smaller place, I mean, you guys like.
We have a 2-bedroom apartment.
You guys live in a New York City apartment. I think that'd be hard to. That'd be an imposition.
Yeah, I mean, a guest is sleeping on the floor. Maybe an air mattress if we really like them. But I think even if you have a bigger house, don't you have to face that guest all the time anyway? Does size help sort of keep you apart? Because isn't the guest going to come down to the kitchen and hang out all day?
Well, maybe, but at least you can like retire to your separate area. I think so.
But do you really? If it's family, I don't think there's enough space. I would just. In my opinion, I would urge this person to minimize the amount of time, just because you want to have a good time. You don't want to get on each other's nerves.
Let's bring in Erica Herskowitz, who's doing updates with us today. And Erica is probably wondering, why the hell is my friend Maggie wearing a duck suit right now? But here I am. Erica, what do you think?
You look great.
Oh,
I mean, I've never seen you look better.
Keep lying to me. What do you think? How long for family members staying in the house?
I'm sort of like have a little PTSD because I just spent like 7 or 8 days with my husband's whole family in a house, and I
noticed a halo around your head. That must have been
I was shaking. Like by the third night, I was like hiding in the room, like my own room, and the Wi-Fi wasn't working, so I had no TV, and I was just like spazzing out in the bed, like hiding. It was bad. So I don't know. If they really loved you, they would not ask you to stay in the house. That's how I feel. I would reverse it. If you really loved me, you wouldn't ask to stay over.
Yeah, you'd go to the Marriott.
You'd go to the Holiday Inn.
There you go. Okay, coming up, we have a 2-time MVP with some ominous comments about his future. We'll get to that after this CBS Sports Update. Here is Erica.
CBS Sports Radio. Sports Flash.
Maggie, Andrew, Major League Baseball suspended Padres reliever Robert Suarez 10 games for using banned sticky stuff. Suarez says it was sunscreen, but he was ejected in the 8th inning of Wednesday's game against the Marlins. Plans to appeal. Meanwhile, the Angels placed Mike Trout back on the 10-day injured list with a fractured bone in his left hand. Anaheim also says, although he won't pitch, Shohei Ohtani will DH as the two-way star receives treatment for his torn UCL, and that includes tonight when the Angels open up a weekend series against the Mets at Citi Field. Ohtani's getting a second opinion regarding a possible second Tommy John surgery. And 5-time All-Star, 4-time Golden Glove winner, outfielder Adam Jones announced he'll retire from baseball with the Orioles on September 15th. 3 games highlight the NFL preseason schedule tonight. The Panthers host the Lions, the Patriots visit the Titans, and the Niners are home for the Chargers. The college football season kicks off tomorrow with Notre Dame taking on Navy in Dublin before USC hosts San Jose State at the Coliseum. And from golf today, second round at the Tour Championship, Victor Hovland has a 1-shot lead over Scotty Scheffler at 15 under, currently -5 through 16. I'm Erica Herskowitz.
Football season is almost here. From the college game to the NFL, no one has you covered like CBS Sports Radio. Find us 24/7 on your local Odyssey affiliate, SiriusXM Channel 158, streaming online, or the free Odyssey app.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff on this Friday. Real college football tomorrow. It's all happening. You get preseason football tonight and tomorrow. Trey Lance and Sunday. Trey Lance set to start for the 49ers against the Chargers tonight, so that will be interesting. Just 2 days after we found out that he was going to be the third-string quarterback.
What's the lead on Monday morning?
What's that?
Sorry, what's the lead on Monday morning?
Of all sports?
Yeah. Because you have NFL preseason, you have real college football. I'm just curious. I have a hunch.
Okay, go.
I think it's probably Aaron Rodgers playing on Saturday night.
Just after you were complaining about how much people like me are bringing up Aaron Rodgers.
Believe me, you are the tip of the iceberg. Everyone's bringing it up. I think the other thing is, what if Trey Lance is really good or really bad? But it's Friday night, will we remember? But I'm so fascinated to see, I feel like all eyes are on Trey Lance.
I think that Trey Lance could end up being the big thing of the weekend. I could see Aaron Rodgers, especially if Rodgers gets hurt. knock on wood.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. I'm not hoping for that. And then
Come on, Maggie.
I'm sorry, I knocked on it. And then the other thing is, if something happens and there's an upset, like I don't think it's going to happen if somehow USC lost.
Right.
And Caleb will, if like the Heisman campaign starts off with an L.
Yeah, I just think
Caleb Williams.
I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be 2 for 4 for 47 yards and have a great day and make all these jokes on the sidelines and probably be mic'd up, and it's going to be great. Where I think Trey Lance, I'm going to say right now we should lead Trey Lance on Monday.
Okay, you want to do a production meeting right now?
Or, by the way.
Could be Shohei Ohtani, who's playing tonight.
Yes, what if Shohei had 3 home runs this weekend against your Mets?
With that's possible.
Yeah.
Because the Mets are serving them up. But with basically elbow that's got a torn UCL in it.
This is
why is he playing?
Yeah, this is crazy, right?
This is stupid.
Stupid
is a good way to describe it. I love Shohei, but what's he doing?
No.
What's he trying to prove?
Well, also, you're 10 games out of the wild card. His whole thing is about winning. Like, you're out of it. Like, this happened. The team was terrible in August.
Someone's giving him bad advice.
But he's got 44 home runs. I don't know. It'd be nice to put 55 home runs out before you hit free agency.
Okay, so you are going to, hit 10 more home runs maybe or something like that. It'd be crazy. We'd all be like, oh, my gosh. And then you have to get Tommy John surgery? So you're going into this major offseason, this free agency. Get the surgery, man.
Are we positive he's going to get surgery? Because Bryce Harper had a similar injury, and I don't think he got full Tommy John. Or maybe he did, but he was back really quickly.
Well, you come back quicker when you're a position player, just like what happened with Ohtani the last time he had Tommy John. And he came back as a hitter much quicker than he came back as a pitcher.
We had David Sampson, the former MLB executive, on yesterday, and he said Ohtani's going to miss most of next season.
He thought so.
But just the fact that Shohei's playing tonight says to me, like, Shohei is going to get out there. I think maybe it's a money thing. Maybe he just wants to prove his value so he can have the biggest contract in the history of baseball.
Well, if he's going to just go on with his life with a partial tear in his UCL, I mean, then you're basically signaling to the next team that you want to give you $500 million that you're a ticking time bomb.
Are you, though? Because what can happen?
Well, if you ever have a thought about pitching again, unless you want to be Masahiro Tanaka, who pitched with a tear. But to be honest, like, for as good as Tanaka was, big game pitcher, I don't know, Stu, Mike, you guys were Yankee fans. That was always a question with Tanaka.
It was, and he also didn't rely on his, like 100-mile-an-hour fastball like Ohtani does. Ohtani's more of a power pitcher than Tanaka was. Tanaka was more of an artist, so I feel
Tanaka was after over 30.
Yeah. It'll affect Ohtani more, I feel like.
If he wants to pitch, and it's an outside shot, that he would get back to being a frontline starter, being back to an ace. But you got to get the second Tommy John. So I don't know why they're just delaying the inevitable here.
Sorry, Bryce Harper, it turned out, did get Tommy John, but he played all of last season with that UCLA injury, and they made the World Series. Just want to remind you of that.
Yeah. How'd they do when they got there?
But he came back shockingly fast. Everyone was surprised he got back so fast. So I think you make a good point. He could get the Tommy John now, but it's only a month from now. He can wait a month, see what he can rack up this year. Would you like to see him play? I think, if he chases Judge even, if he gets hot, which is possible because he defies all logic in every way, always.
Might be tough.
I think if he, with a torn UCL, hits a home run or two this weekend, it'll be quite notable.
That's true. Let's get to our shot of the day.
He shoots!
And the shot of the day is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos is brought to you by those who drink it. We say a huge, huge thank you to George Clooney and to Mike Meldman and to Randy Gerber and to Lee Einsadler specifically, our pals at Casamigos, and we love having a partnership with them. Okay, today's shot of the day, the snapshot of the day, comes from earlier when you guys were making fun of me because I was so relieved when I didn't miss a meeting with my kids' school. And then we realized, because I did miss the meeting, it turned out it was postponed. And I was relieved, and we talked about the double standard that moms and dads are held to. I had a meeting, totally forgot about it. I go to my email address, the meeting had been canceled. I thought I got so lucky today.
Honestly, what would the repercussions have been if you not showing up? It's Zoom.
Looking irresponsible.
Yeah, but you're buying into that judgment by making such a big deal out of it.
I'm just living in the judgment. I'm not buying it. Erica, am I right that if I was 5 minutes late to a meeting, I'm totally getting judged for that?
You're not only getting judged, you're getting crucified.
I dodged some kind of something, and now it's going to come back around and do
Hope Lucas likes trade school.
Just kidding. There we go. And that's Erica Herskowitz, who's doing updates for us today, who's also a working mom. Yeah. You guys don't know. It's just different standard for the dads versus the moms.
Because you're a working mom, do you feel guilty?
All the time, at every turn. I wonder what my kid's doing right now. Like, has he eaten today? I'm sure he has. But
Mike, you're here at work and your kid's at home. Do you feel any guilt about that?
Tons. I actually do.
What about you,
I don't feel guilt, but like my wife is home with him.
That's because she's still technically a newborn-ish, you know?
Yeah, she's 8 months, but I mean, I don't feel guilt per se, but like, I wish I wasn't here. No offense, but I wish I was just home, like, cuddling with her all day.
Wait, it's a baby. How old is she?
8 months.
8 months.
Oh, my God. Why?
Perloff, do you ever feel any guilt about
No,
any of that
I
stuff?
do, but 8 months, that's hard work.
Yeah.
Like, you need a break from I remember work being a vacation from parenting early on. It's like, oh, my God, get me out of this house. I'm surprised, Mike, you're not like that, because I think a lot of people are, where work can be a little relaxing compared to a newborn.
It's funny, like Perloff's like, no, the Dan Patrick Show is now 9 to 9. It's we're doing 12-hour shows when your kids were little.
Everyone always gave you credit for that long drive. For you, it was like an escape.
No, I loved it.
It turns out Dan Patrick Show wasn't in Milford, Connecticut. It was actually in Manhattan.
Well, I got to tell you, during the pandemic, when everybody was working from home,
yeah.
Since we were such a small crew, we went back to Connecticut studio really quickly, and spending all day with 4 people in a 2-bedroom apartment, I could not get out of that house faster. There's just a relief of getting but you feel some of that too, right? I mean, because it's hard work to be a parent.
Totally, but it's a different type of, the guilt hits different from the mom side of it. Like, I remember going back to work after I had my son, going back to the fan 2 months after he was born. And I walked out of the house. Yeah. And I walked out of the house. I did a fan fest like 5 weeks after he was born. That was crazy. But anyway, 2 months after, and I walked out and I had left him with a nanny. And I was just like, I have her info. And like, we took a picture of her license, but I just like, and she had to be great. But like, I just walked out of the house and left my 2-month-old with a stranger.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I left and my wife was still on maternity leave. So it was much, much easier.
Yeah.
But Mike is soft. I want to be home with it. You got to let that 8-month-old figure it out herself. You got to separate there, Mike. Give her.
I think it says more about you, Maggie, and Stu than it does about me and the baby. That I'd rather be with a crying, screaming 8-month-old than with the 3 of you.
Yeah, because you're getting pats on the back for feeding her. Like, congrats, Dad. What a great job.
It is a boost in the ego, that's for sure.
I know. I can tell the looks that my husband gets when he used to push the stroller. And even now, the teachers love him because he's a dad that shows up.
Listen, I understand that, I'm no longer single. I have a wife, and I love her to death. But, man, when I'm out with the baby in the Bjorn carrier and I'm walking the dog at the same time, the looks I get from the most beautiful women on the planet is like, man, it's like the biggest aphrodisiac you could ever imagine.
Yeah, you're like
Gucci goo.
Being a dad
ladies.
with the puppy? Oh, man.
It's like you're Mick Jagger. It's unbelievable. And your dog is so cute, Mike.
I know.
The combo must be devastating.
All of a sudden, Samter grew 5 inches. It's like, ladies, it's fighting them off.
But let me tell you one thing, Mike. When you have a baby and a baby born in front of you, you are immediately identified as a non-sexual partner for all these beautiful women.
That's true. They give me like the cute look. Baby born is the least sexy thing on the planet.
No, it's like you're getting smiles, but they are not potential, hey, let's hook up smiles.
Yeah, guy pushing a stroller is different. Guy wearing baby Bjorn is like,
no,
but go away.
This is like, I forgot who was the comedian who had this, but like a guy wearing a wedding ring. Oh, it's like Seinfeld. Like, you're wearing the wedding ring, or you've been engaged before. That was a George and Jerry.
Oh, yeah.
Been engaged before. You can show a woman that you can go all the way, and that instantly makes you more attractive.
That
guy
might
with a
be
baby,
true.
it's like, wow.
There is a phenomenon that happens with guys that I actually find annoying. Once you get married and you've been married for years, you forget how many women are really interested in you. You think, oh, all these women are interested in me, but I'm married. You forget that when you were single, it was not like that at all. But the confidence of being married has fooled your brain into thinking that all women want you because your wife wants you.
Oh, boy.
But believe me, it ain't like that.
That's like most probably workplace sexual harassment thing.
Stu, pull that out of the podcast.
I think we pulled half the show out of the podcast.
Yeah, I know. The podcast 5 minutes.
Anything that's in Serbian, just can you have a program that does that? We don't know what we were saying.
No, what's this we? You said it.
Whatever.
Say anything in
You
Serbian.
might have been singing.
We were playing the music. Who knows what the lyrics are?
You might have been singing hard rap Serbian lyrics. You have no idea what you were singing.
All I said was stosh, stosh, stosh. How bad could that be? And I've been trying to look up.
What does that word mean? I don't know.
Been trying to look it up on Google Translate. It's not giving me anything. I mean, if they're actually singing about something like
this is a 2 Live Crew of Serbia. You have no
that's Uncle
idea.
Luke up there.
Yeah.
Oh man, what kind of mistakes did we make today?
So many.
Thinking that anybody in the audience is young and old enough to know who 2 Live Crew is. Stu looked at me like, "So you know who 2 Live Crew is?"
Nope.
You watched the U-Doc, right?
Yeah. Luther Campbell?
Yeah,
No.
Dr. Luke, right? Was it Dr. Uncle Luther? Uncle Luther.
Uncle
Luther. Sorry,
By the way,
Dr. Luke is someone else.
Yeah.
By the way, Perloff, it's up to 80% of people who don't think the Steelers are a contender for the
I feel like Stu is skating by on this baby conversation. I mean, I
haven't had a baby.
Well, I know, but do we pressure you enough about your relationship status?
I mean, we met Stu's lovely girlfriend.
Yeah,
we brought it up on the air. You're bringing it up now. I think we do a good job.
I mean, yeah. Just saying.
Let's really push Stu.
I don't know.
Basically, Perloff wants to go to a wedding, so if you
I can sense that.
He's really, really wants to go to a
I want to go to a wedding and hear Serbian folk songs so I can get on a chair and dance.
That could be achieved. Okay. Thank you, Mike Samter. Thank you to Stu Kovacs. Fantastic week out of you guys. Thank you. Thank you to
Those people who moved the Zoom meeting and saved Maggie's day.
Thank you to Mike Golic Jr., to Andy Staples. This is great talking with Erica today. The Weedos, the Purple Drinkers, have a great weekend. Enjoy actual, real college football. See you Monday.